Hello and welcome to the fan cams. After Carlton lose to Port Adelaide, 9 goals, 11, 65 to 11 goals, 13, 79 under the roof at Marvel here on a Friday night in round 20. Bitterly disappointing result. Bitterly disappointing second half in particular. So many talking points. So much went wrong. So much looked okay, and then it looked awful. So much to talk about, and that's why we're here. So if you are new to the fan cams, welcome. We're brought to you by Mr. Ugur Koken. If you'd like to call in, would love to hear your thoughts. We've been through these ones far too many times in our lifetime. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you'd like to call in, share your thoughts. We'll be going for a long time tonight. I guarantee you that. Link is in the chat now. Would love to hear from whoever really wants to call in and share their thoughts. That's the truth. Anyone is welcome. Let's do this, Pommy.
Gash. It's the best way to describe that, I think. Absolutely gash, wasn't it? That second half, as bad as you can see on the back of the second quarter as well. That was almost sublime. For a club that builds its reputation on pressure and intensity in second and third efforts, that second half, it's been for the last 4 weeks, isn't it? The last 4 weeks, you've seen that. Once they switch off, sit back, they allow the pressure to come onto them. And unfortunately, you can't stop that. It's so easy to players at the moment, and it's hard to see how you turn it around, because I thought that third quarter, that was heart. That was heart, and it didn't show. It was way too easy at times for Port, almost ridiculously easy.
Really thought we looked sharp early in that game. I thought it was just a good contest. And then once we got figured out in that second half, and once Port's intensity just continued to stay constant, ours just didn't seem to match at times. And then once we were found out, there was no going back. It just seemed like there was just no way to figure out how to readjust and get the game back on our terms. Game was played so far in our defensive half on that left-hand side.
Yeah, and you've got to question decisions in that game, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? Like pulling Charlie in the third quarter to fullback, which, okay, we had issues, do you know what I mean, down the back, but then when you've got the exit ball under that pressure, you kick into fucking Jesse Motlop and Lockie Foggett, who were 2'8".
Yeah.
And then wondering why it's coming back in. And then when we do win the ball back and we break even at the contest, we're kicking forward to small guys again. Always on his own at full forward. Makes no sense, Terry. You've got to put yourself in the position to win. And last 5 weeks, 6 weeks, it's been the same. It feels like there's an arrogance at the football club to win the ball around the source, to win the ball around stoppage. And the way we fix it is playing an extra behind the ball, go defensive, and we can't control. We can't control games. That's not how we play. We're never going to be. If Michael Voss wants us to be a sexy West Coast when they won a flag where they could just piss about with it in the back half of the ground, we ain't winning it. We ain't winning games doing that. The way we play the game, hard edge, intense, get the ball moving. That second quarter, Daniel Hoyne wanking us off because we're the best turnover side. That's how we're the best turnover side. Quick ball, make you kick long. We get nice one-on-ones. We win it. We slingshot out the back. We kill you. As soon as our pressure died, they could move Rataglia where he wanted. Kemp isn't a one-on-one defender. They wanted the ball to be able to move quickly, to move freedom. And that's what we gave them. We just gave them so much space behind the midfield. It's Banterville. And I don't understand Voss's obsession. Fuck stoppage. Delete Twitter off your phone if you have to, Voss. Ignore what everyone says. Just win the ball the way you know. This turnover game's magical. No one cares about stoppage. Stop trying to protect it. Make them go harder. And it's bizarre, bro. It's bizarre at times how that second quarter, it was so easy when we were first to the ball, make them go quick, make them go wide. And as soon as they kicked that one goal out of clearance, you saw it. Oh, shit, we'll move players back. Oh, better put Kerno here. Oh, we better put Young here. So we got no one up the forward half. They could just waltz it out. They could waltz it out. Like Fogarty went onto the midfield for a time. And Dan Houston was walking out of the back half of the ground. Walking. Like, Terry, honestly, it's really not that rocket science to out tackle an opposition. It's not that. No. That's pride. That's pride. That's here. Do you know what I mean? That's pride. That's like remembering your mum's birthday. It's just a bare level of respect. Bare level of respect for yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's remembering your wedding anniversary. Things like that. It's bare rudimentary respect in here. That was really poor. Like, 1 quarter, Terry. 1 quarter.
Yeah.
30 points ahead, Terry. And we looked panicked as soon as they got that first goal in the third. You could see it. You saw the rotation start to shift backwards. They started to go defensive. So that also comes from the coaches' backs. They could feel it. They could feel the pressure rising.
What does this do for how you feel about, where we're at?
They've got to find it and find it quick, smart. They've got to find it. I mean, half the fans left at 4-quarter time, didn't they, before the game?
So 14-point game. After that goal review happens, I took note. There was 3 minutes, 34 seconds to go. Goal review happens. We're down by 14. Mass exodus. I was a bit shocked by that, to be honest.
I'm not.
I mean, do what you want. Everyone do what you want. But I thought that was pretty disappointing to see.
And I think that sums up the entire football club at the minute.
Yeah, it's got to be on our terms. Otherwise, we're not there.
It's a little bit fucking tough. And we've got to dig deep, and we're asking questions of ourselves. A little bit fucking tough. Do you know what I mean? Do I want to put my head over that ball? Right? Too many panicked handballs. It's a little bit of a panic. But what do we do really well? We put pressure on in the midfield. When we play good football, we put pressure. There's a little bit of a risk element. I'm willing to let you get past me because I'm going to speed you up. I'm going to make you get rid of that ball. And fucking everyone needs to get a little bit of a grip. We are in a shit situation, but something's got to change. Where's the fire? Where's the passion?
Yes. Where is it?
That game was winnable, Terry. 31 points ahead, bro. It was game over, Terry, at half time. It was game over. You could have afforded the third quarter, but again, 5 minutes to go, that's when the fight came. You saw the run and stun take the game on, but by that stage, it was too late. They were 2.5 goals ahead.
Yeah. Our aerial presence, apart from Charlie, forward of the ball, forward of centre, was...
Say what you want about Lewis Young, but you couldn't fucking stop. You couldn't move Lewis Young out of the forward 50. Yeah. You couldn't.
No, it's not Lewis's fault.
No, but what I mean is, say what you want. You had to have 2 forwards there. You had to, because as soon as they moved him back, Young back to try and stem the blow, there was no fucker forward.
Yeah.
Mate, I back myself. Charlie's massive. But I'd back, if you gave me 2 proper key defenders, I wouldn't panic if Charlie was there. Because there's 3 of us. What's he going to do? And it was way too easy, Terry. Like, honestly, that second quarter, you saw us get to the ball, make you go fast, make them kick long. We killed them. Sard, Newman, fucking McGovern, just getting the ball, bang, get straight back forward, killing it all the time. Right? The minute we stopped doing that and we allowed them time, what happened? They pantsed us. And any side in the league playing professional football, if you give them time, front and centre, will kill you. Will absolutely kill you. Like, if you're moving Young back, you move Kemp forward. He was the last person to play forward for this team. Mitch McGovern used to kick goals for banter. when he was a forward. Like, you try something, Terry. It was a real bizarre thing. Even Cripper, what about Cripps? Play him forward. But the defensive plan was cram the 50 with 20 minutes to go with every tall fucker. And then you had Owies and Motlop on the wing, and then Cottrell and fucking Motlop on the other as an exit ball, and wonder why you don't win contests. Unless there's growth potion in the fucking dressing room. Ain't happening.
No. Got to smarten up. There's a month left, man. It's August. It's the final four.
And we're probably kissed on the dick next week that we've got Collingwood. Because that's a game that form goes out the window.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, both teams play on fumes. And it's just going to be a slugfest. So that's probably a positive. But it's interesting because even the emergencies, like, who could you pick? Lewis Young? Jordan Boyd? Jordan Boyd wouldn't have fixed that. Jackson Binns? Result would have been probably 20, 30 points more. It's a real bizarre 4 weeks that we seem obsessed with stoppage and clearance at the moment. Like, literally, it seems an obsession. As soon as that starts swinging against us, we start sitting off them. Where you go back to the wins at the start of the year, Brisbane's the greatest example. They started to get domination out of there. Voss went bold. He put all these big boys there, said, go on, get through us, we dare you. And they couldn't. I don't understand. It almost feels like Voss is listening to the media and wants to be sexy. We're not sexy. We're blue, rugged, miserable, dour football that's really effective. Be brave. Embrace that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've got to figure something. We've got to figure it out. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the watch along. I'm a bit shell shocked at that one, to be honest with you.
Oh, I'm not, because you can see it in the eyes, Terry. You see it go.
Yeah. The collective fire, it's just, they haven't ignited it. I don't know what we're waiting for.
Like, that's not personnel, Terry. There is no one there, because that's the collective. Once that midfield pressure goes, there ain't anyone missing right now that is better than anyone in that midfield. There isn't anyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's still in our hands. But if we don't have it, if we don't fix it soon, we could be in the pack.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's get on with it. And we'll go from there.
Thanks so much, everyone, for the watch along. I'm sorry we couldn't get the job done. We go again.
Go Blues.
Enjoy your weekend.
See you, mate. Paolo.
Terry. Hello, mate.
What happened?
Yeah, not a lot after half time. Look, I can handle losing. I can handle losing. I think we can all handle losing. I can't handle losing when we play safe. It's not a home performance. It's not. I don't know what were they scared of? Why did they continue to sit back? Why did we go so defensive? Why do we continue to take half step backs? Why do we put Charlie behind the ball when the game's on the line? Why do we go through the corridor and take the risky kick with 2 minutes to go and the game's done? It just perplexes me. It just perplexes me. I don't get it. You're up by 5 goals. What are you scared of? It's almost as though that today just told me that when the pressure comes on that little bit in game, you have to take that extra step forward, not that half step back. And we took that half step back today. And the insistence to continually go long up the line without representation up the line and repeat the same process time and time and time again after half time, and not change the angles up and not move the ball short and not overlap, not underlap, not run ahead of the ball, not change up the midfield mix a little bit. We just completely played into their hands. And if you move the ball safely, you get what you deserve. and we got what we deserved in the second half. And it's another game where we've bopped up a 5-goal lead. We did it against Sydney, we've done it against GWS, and now we've done it against Port Adelaide. And unfortunately, it's happened 3 times this year, and it's nowhere near the level. Nowhere near the level. Like I said, I can handle losing. I think we can all handle losing. I can't handle losing when you play in your shell and you play safely, which is it just shouldn't be the case at home. You should always be on the front foot in front of a home crowd on a Friday night. And to sit back the way we did in the second half was that was the most disappointing and infuriating part of the night. Someone was waiting for something to happen, and no one actually made anything happen. And a lot of it was on the coaches tonight. I thought we were tactically outdone. Tactically, I thought the moves that we made in game were inept. They did nothing to swing back momentum the other way, and moving Fogarty on the ball just did nothing for our forward line. Moving Charlie down back just is defeatist attitude, I think, especially when momentum's not going your way. I understand that we were leaking a bit, but gee whiz, when Harry's not there, someone's got to be representing up the line. And even when we did throw Charlie back, move the ball short, move the ball by hand, move the ball with speed. You know, don't go long up the line because you haven't got that representation up the line. And unfortunately, we just played into their hands in the second half the whole night. I can't believe the momentum we had in that first half and how it just swayed back the other way at a home game. And this is on the players and the coaches today. Do they realize what's on the line? Like the last 4 weeks, do they understand what's on the line? It doesn't seem to me, because it's starting to get away from us. It's really starting to get away from us this last month. And we were, you know, the wind papered over the cracks. We were poor last week, regardless of what data said or champion data said or whatever it was. North Melbourne went up to Sydney and Sydney pantsed them, absolutely destroyed them. We had a home game against North last week and we scraped over the line. You know, it's just, it just seems to me we've lost the flame, we've lost the edge, we've lost this aggressiveness in our defense and aggressiveness in our style of play, which has been, you know, a staple for us over the last, you know, 20 to 30 weeks of AFL since that, you know, fateful Essendon game last season. So
do you think there's something to be said? Do you think there's something to be said for the change in mentality where, you know, the competition and the external expect it from us now? Last year, we didn't know at this point if we were still going to make it. We're on a run. So you have the momentum. Whereas this year, most teams look at us now as like a litmus test, like we used to look at those top echelon sides. Do you think we're struggling to adjust to that? Or do you think it's just the competition's even and, you know, this is what it is?
Well, yeah, the competition's even. I mean, it's always even, but you've got to find a competitive edge, right?
Yeah.
For me,
like we're not attacking and hunting the comp. We're getting hunted now.
Yeah, and you've got to come up with ways to flick the switch with regards to that, and that's on the leaders at the football club, and it flows down from the rest. That's on head coach. That's on, you know, the 4 leaders in our leadership group. You know, Charlie, Cripps, Walsh, and Jacob Wiedering, who were, you know, Wieders was pretty good tonight again, but how many times can we leave it up to him and Cripps? It's just someone else has to step up, mate. And coming into the season as well, there was, you know, we discussed it in the build up to the start of the year that this is the first time that they carry the weight of expectation, having actually had a good season together. And we handled it pretty well until 4 weeks ago. I actually don't know. I don't know what's happened. I can see what's happened. But I don't know why it's happened. I don't know why there's been such a switch into this defensive mindset. It's not us. It's just not us, you know. And we you know, even Pommy said it. There's been such an obsession with stoppage and clearance, you know. And it's funny that, you know, the coaches and team are focusing on that, but we were flogged in that area today.
Completely. The pressure in the contest was all Port Adelaide over the 4 quarters.
Yeah. So, you know, were there weren't warning signs there last week? Yeah, there were. There clearly were, because the game last week from a performance point of view was nowhere near the level, and we said as such on fan cams. But you'd have thought, Friday Night Lights, 5-day backup, you don't have to think about that game too much. I know we had a few outs, but the outs we had, that was not why we lost.
No.
That was not why we lost. Why we lost again was above the shoulders. And, credit to Port. They had 91 tackles and brought the heat too. But, geez, mate, like, it just, and it just, when there are blokes in that leadership group that are not quite operating. Charlie was good tonight. Cripper was okay. Walsh is probably a little bit down. Wiedering standing up. But then what's the next layer? Did you know what I mean? So I'm looking at, and I know I've crosshaired him the last couple of weeks, but Adam Chera, I mean, if he, again, and I know I said it with Williams, they've picked him over Boyd as a halfback flanker. And I don't know what people think in the chat or what you think, but Jordan Boyd is a better halfback flanker than Adam Chera, in my humble opinion. And I was surprised that they didn't try him on the ball. I know he's been a little bit down in the last couple of weeks, but that might have sparked us up on the ball. And he was barely sighted after halftime, mate. And the player like that, do you? Yeah.
It's almost like they've gone. I mean, well, Cunners obviously gets hurt early, so whatever. Carroll comes on. I'm with you when you say around Boyd being at halfback. I don't know what the answer is, but at that point in the game, especially in that third quarter, bless Jack Carroll. He's giving it his all. But
Yeah.
I would have thought at this point in the year, we need Chera in form in his position.
Yeah, but maybe there's clearly no trust with him playing on ball in those high pressure scenarios because they didn't put him in there. They did. He was barely sighted after halftime. And when it's tough for a player like him as well, when you're sitting back so deep and the ball is just constantly in your back half and it's repeat entry after repeat entry after repeat entry, and you're playing almost 18 blokes behind the ball inside defensive 50. A player like him needs time and space. There is no time and space for him to be able to amplify his strengths, get the ball on the outside, use the ball. And I looked at our heat map and I put it up on Twitter. Just go for those who have got the AFL app, just go on the matches and go on the team section and scroll down to the possession heat map and just click quarter 4 and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about with regards to safe ball movement. I don't know if you can get it up on the screen, mate, but this is where I when I saw it, I just like I said, I can handle losing, right? I can't handle losing, right? When that happens. Okay, I cannot, not in the last quarter, mate. When it's your home game, you're up by 2 scores, right? What are you waiting for?
This is the fourth quarter?
This is the fourth quarter. Why is there an insistence to continually go down the line and down the line? And then the moment we started to change up the angle, we went from the outer side, which was my side of the ground. We switched up the angle, went to far side, and then Elijah Hollins ended up getting on the end of it, and it was touched on the line, right? And then when we're 3 scores down, Cripper decides to angle that ball through the middle, and Charlie takes the mark, and then we get the ball, and we didn't try that until the last 4 minutes. Why did we not try that until the last 4 minutes? I can't understand. There is no reason for them to wait to do that until the game gets away from you. There's actually no reason. The only thing I can think of is that the people who have made the calls in the coach's box and the leaders on the ground and those with ball in hand and the setup was of a mentality which put them into that space and put them into that headspace. That's the only thing I can think of. The decisions made on ground by those above the players, coaches, put them in that game state to not be aggressive, to not take that kick on. Because we did not change up an angle one bit in the second half until the game was pretty much done. And I don't know why. I can't come up with an answer for it, aside from it was directive. And if that's directive, well, I'm sorry, it's completely wrong again. Completely wrong again. I don't know what to say, mate. I don't know what to say. with
That's
regards to
said.
that.
Before I let you go, where does this put your confidence about the group?
Oh, it's shaky, isn't it?
Mm,
It's very shaky, and we put ourselves now in a spot where we've relinquished that nice little buffer we had, and we shouldn't be in this position. Not based off the talent we have on the field, and not based off the setup of each game. They're home games, mate.
mm.
They're games that the Bulldogs game, nowhere near the level. The Kangaroos game last week, nowhere near the level. Get over the line because we've got difference makers in the team. Tonight after halftime, nowhere near the level. Something has to change, mate. It's nothing to do with personnel. If they play like that in that second half against Collingwood next week, we will get beaten, right? The same thing was said last week. If we play the way we did against North as we do tonight, we will get beaten. And the same thing has happened. So you can forget about results. If you look at performance-based analysis, the last 4 performances have been so poor. So poor. And last week we got away with one because it's North Melbourne.
Yeah.
This week coming up against Collingwood, who were wounded, we need to flick the switch. We'll get Akers back, we'll get Mackay back, but something needs to change mentally because it's not good enough. It's just not good enough, mate. And we need that home qualifying final.
Okay, I want to move on, but I'm starting to think we're talking about that a bit too much.
Yeah, probably.
Home qualifying, like it's just week to week. We've gotten caught up in home prelim, qualifying final, rather than staying right into the moment. That'll take care of itself eventually.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing for the home qualifying final going into if we go into games saying, we've got to win tonight because we need a home qualifying final.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's exactly what got us in trouble in 2022.
Fall into the trap. You fall into the trap, don't you? And you lose sight of your feet underneath you. And mate, we've got the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Grasp it with both hands and take it.
Yeah.
And let's ruin Scott for his 400th next week.
Thanks, Paulo.
Nice.
Appreciate it,
mate.
man.
Have a great night.
See
you, mate. Bye-bye.
All right. Josh.
Tez. Not the night to make the fan cams debut, huh?
Oh, this is the debut, mate. Welcome to peak Blue Abroad, mate. Fuck it now.
It just hurts. It hurts. Like, I looked at it a little bit before I hopped on the analytics, the stats, but also just the emotion as well as a fan. So obviously the stats, the numbers are clear. So going to the forward 50, I think it was something like 42% efficiency. It's just, and you could see it. You didn't need the numbers to know that. Just watching the game was clear. Just going so direct to Charlie, and it was a 2v1 every time. Aaliyah just, it was easy for him, and we made him look amazing. And yes, you can say no to Conning, no Mackay, but it was just so predictable. It was so predictable. And I know you just spoke about the qualifying final and all that stuff, and I don't really want to get into it, but when you ask Pommy, is it in our hands? And the reality is now it's not. It's actually in Brisbane's hands for that second place, and I reckon that's why it really hurts tonight, because now we have to watch Gold Coast tomorrow, hope Gold Coast get the result. If they don't get the result, we need to watch their next opponent, and it's now no longer in our hands, which is the part that hurts the most.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Where did it go wrong for you? Like, what was somewhere in the third quarter, I think, is the answer, but what exactly is
the
it for you?
third quarter? But it might have me just being pessimistic, but even in that second quarter when we got on the run, I was like, this is not, I don't feel safe. I don't feel like, we're just going to go on with this. It didn't feel dominant. It felt like we took our chances when they arose, but Port was the better team. And like you said, clearances, they had, I think, 10 plus more clearances than us. They just wanted it more. They were more efficient. Just those little things, those little skill errors. Even, I don't like pinpointing players, and even Hewitt, I'm a fan of him, but even just like that little kick in the last 3 minutes. Yes, it wasn't consequential in the game, but just little skill errors. And just they just took their moments. And we were just wasteful, to be honest. It was a really tough watch.
Yeah. What's the solution?
That's a good one. Like you said, it's week by week. We play Collingwood now. Whether that's a good thing, I'm not sure, because they could be last on the ladder and they'll still get up for the game against us. But it is a good chance to reset. But they just need to just go back to basics. It was 4 or 5 weeks ago. We beat the Cats by whatever it was, 10 plus goals. Everyone was saying, this is it. The lids are off. This is our year. We just need to go back to what we were doing. It's not something that we don't know how to do, because we've shown it this year. We can do it. So they've got the ability. They need to just be able just to somehow flick the switch and just get back to do what they were doing. We're not asking for anything more than that. We were doing it. We were winning games. We were playing good footy. They just need to get out of the rut, take it game by game. There's now 4 games left. It's not long. It's the make or break time. And we've sort of transitioned now from being the club that, we're just happy to win a final, or we're just happy to. We're not that anymore. We need to accept we're not that anymore. We're in the mix, and they need to understand they're in the mix and just really go for it over these next 4 weeks and into the finals.
Mate, brilliant. Well said.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to talk about them when we're winning. It's harder when we've lost. But yeah. Well, no.
Both of them, you can't have one without the other, unfortunately.
Right.
So appreciate you making the debut. Thanks for calling in, man.
Thanks, cheers.
See ya. Sayaf, 2 years being a member on the channel. Thanks, mate. 5th time we've thrown away a 5-goal lead this year. Win your next 4 if you want top 2, or just say you don't want. Bossy boy with $3. Can they please stop the kick and hope to Aaliyah? Yeah, amen. That second half in particular. Connor, could I get the link? Yes, I will send the link in the chat shortly. I've got a full waiting room at the moment, so just hang tight. Kostas Ludas, $5. Thank you. He says, we had a simple game plan last year when we turned it around. They have tinkered too much and players look a bit confused. No aggression, speed, no dare. Thank you, mate. All right. Andy.
Yeah.
Hey, mate.
Terry.
Angry, frustrated, mate. I don't know what to do.
Bro, that was not it, bro.
No.
That was not good. Oh, I don't know, bro. That's one of our worst performances of the probably last 2 years, bro. We got to stop playing this 1 quarter thing. Like, I don't know who we think we are, but like, I don't know, bro. It was so frustrating. I feel like I was listening to Paul before, and Paul like summed it up really well with a few things. We lost it. Like, this is on the players and the coaches. This one is solely players. And bro, why did we take Chincotta off Butters? Like, Houston, I didn't feel was like dominating. So that one confused me a bit because Butters killed it. Butters was probably the difference in the second half.
Yeah.
You got Chera playing half back, which cooks me.
What do you make of that whole scenario?
He's not a defender, bro. Like, if Boyd is fit, and he must have been if he's emergency, then Chera can't be in the back line. Like, Boyd takes that spot. Boyd is a defender. And I'm concerned for Chera because clearly Voss isn't seeing him as that guy in the midfield anymore. But he's thrown everyone out of whack now, or our defense out of whack by going in the. I don't know, bro. It's not good. It's just not working.
Yeah, look, it's not just Chera's fault, but I think
no, absolutely. Yeah.
When you see these moments, and I mean, Paul made the point. You know, you've got your leaders, they're there. Then you need that under that next layer, and I definitely have Chera in there. You know, with Nick Newman and George Hewitt and these types. And we're coming into this pointy end of the year, and I don't know, is Chera the halfback? Is that the solution? Is that going to get us through this patch? Is it to reserve him? Is it to keep him fresh? I don't know.
I'm genuinely just unsure. like I can't see the vision, and you know, like we're not coaches, so we don't, you know, we're not privy to a lot of the things that the coaches are seeing and dealing with. So maybe there's a plan in there. Like maybe you're right. Maybe we're trying to reserve him. Maybe we're just trying to build something there to add to his arsenal. I'm not sure, but right now it's failing, and it's failing so obviously. I'm like, a lot of people are talking about top four. You know, we've got to protect top four. Man, the competition's that tight, and our form has dipped so bad. We need to just focus week by week just to try and make the 8. Don't worry about top 4. Like, a lot of other teams are hitting form, and we're going the other way. And last week after the North game, I mentioned to you that was it last week or might have been the week before? I can't remember. But I mentioned to you that the ladder might be lying about us being in second place. And I think this confirms it for me. We're not a second place side right now, not at round 20. So there's still time. Like, I'm not off us by any means, but things need to turn around ASAP. ASAP.
I missed Harry Mackay tonight so much.
Yeah. Hey, and I want to put my hand up. I had a chat with you during the week about Charlie, and I've been, you know, iffy about Charlie all year. This was for me his best game all year.
Man,
What he was,
great.
Next level. And you know what? That's what I felt was missing. You know, during the whole year for me. He was, him and probably Holland's best on ground for me, like those two. And then right over.
Why do you think in the first half we kicked the ball so well to Charlie? I've got him in my head. The McGovern kick for Charlie's first, perfect in front of him to his advantage. And another one was, I think it was Lockie Fogarty, perfect to the space in front of him. Then the game tightens up in that third, and then we go back to kicking it like on top of him. It's like, why do we go away from what was working in the way that we kicked him? I think our midfield lets him down so much with the way they kick the ball to him.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
I don't understand why we haven't learned that yet. Like, you know, it takes time, I understand, and repetitions, and, you know, it's a process. I really get it. But, like, come on. You got to know it now, especially without Harry there. You can't get confused because Harry loves it up in the air as high as you can. But Charlie, how have we not learnt it consistently yet? I don't know.
It's so frustrating. Our midfield right now just isn't working, right? Like there's something wrong. And another reason, I said that the coaching needs to, you know, take the hit for this one. We didn't change anything. Like I didn't feel like we tried to change anything. And our midfield has suffered now for weeks. We have just been leaking like the easiest center clearances, right? Now, I understand clearance isn't everything and all that, and our defense holds up really, really well. But it's going to hurt you eventually, and it did. Today, they were just moving the ball with ease out of the middle.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know if it's, are we tired? Are we like, you know, did we mistime our run? Like, there are so many questions that need to be asked. And I was reading, like, fans are already turning on Voss, man. Like, we need to chill. Yeah, fans are losing it about Voss. We just need to chill, right? Like
it's fucking annoying. It was a shit game, but like, let's just
yeah. Like we need to chill, right? Like, yeah, we were second on the ladder 4 hours ago. Like, we need to chill.
Look, we're 12-7.
Yeah.
We're not in good form in the last month now, 4 weeks.
Yeah. But there's another 4 weeks to go. Like,
another 4 weeks to go.
I don't know. I think as a fan base, we need to kind of just chill a bit.
What did you think of the Exodus? Did you notice that?
Look, I'm not a fan personally. I stay to the end.
Heavy Exodus, man. It was like,
I think, look, I'm not a fan of that. do whatever you want. Like I'm a
Yeah, of
believer.
course.
Do whatever you pay for your ticket. Do whatever you want. But I'm a big believer in staying to the end. Right? You stay to the end, and you just stick it out. I felt like today wasn't. I mean, look, a lot of it was because the game was over or whatever. But I think there was an umpiring call right at the end that I think cost us a goal or led to a goal. And like the people around us that left were just abusing the umpires on their way out. So I feel like that decision probably tipped it over the edge.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it though. You stick around. You just, we're all in this together, yeah. So I'm a believer in just sticking around.
Well, been saying it for 4 weeks now. Like, hopefully this is the one that just helps them wake up.
Mm.
I don't want to panic, but I'm concerned now.
Yeah, I said last week, even though we won.
Yeah, like there's still a month left. I don't think it's a major fix.
We're up by 5 goals. It can't be that major.
Yeah. I don't believe it's a major fix. I do believe it's something to do with this connection between them again.
We're not. It's like we get too panicky, and we just go into our shells, and we play this slow. Not even slow. It's just I don't even know how to say it. I don't even know how to describe it. But it reminds me of first half of the season last year.
Yeah.
Where there's no free flowing movement. It's just kick long down the line, keep kicking it to Leah. Like we always make these guys, every once in a while, we make a defender look like the greatest defender in the league.
Yeah.
Right. And it goes back to what you said before, just kicking it long and high. And in that second quarter, we were actually kicking the ball quite low, I felt. Like I felt like we lowered our eyes and we weren't kicking it so high. I felt like that was the difference. And then we just went back to bombing it long. Questions, man. A lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, man, appreciate you calling in.
Pleasure, Tez.
Great statement. A lot of questions. Way more questions than answers. So I guess we'll stew over them for the next 8 days. They better not do that next week to Collingwood, man. Like maybe that's the little emotional igniter that they need. Like, don't do that to Collingwood against Collingwood next week because
I don't want to think about that, bro. I don't want to think about.
There's a Greek saying, "Disputanes την έγινε" if we lose to Collingwood next week. So I won't translate it, but
next week, if we lose, which hopefully, God forbid, I need you to let me know what that means.
I'll translate it for you after the fan cams.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right, man. I'll speak to you.
Have a good one, my bro.
See ya. All right. Joel.
Hi, Terry. Oh, why are we in this position? Why? Yeah, it's. I was feeling good about this game until the bounce and we lost my favourite player, Harry McKay. He would have helped tonight, but yeah, it was just such a different looking team.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think our ability to control territory with Mackay marking around the ground in his presence, felt that. And not to say that we couldn't have won the game without him, but definitely felt the whole of Harry.
Yeah. So, look, I just still think we're in with a chance to lift the cup. As odd as that may sound on our form run at the moment, but we've seen how well we can play, and I think when we've got our best team out there, we can challenge. But yeah, look, it's kind of like with me, I kind of, I was just talking to a friend before, and it was so frustrating because I felt like we kind of like left a lot out there. In terms of our, like, maybe the coaching, I think probably other people have said, but just like I thought we could have like pulled a few other levers, it was just, that was the frustrating part, which I didn't quite get. I mean, I was thinking like, obviously we looked like why didn't they put McGovern forward or Kemp forward or, you know,
They did put Kemp forward. They definitely did put Kemp forward
oh,
eventually.
okay.
I watched the switch happen. Whether it happened too late or not is another question. McGovern's an interesting one because logically it makes sense. I thought he was doing a really good job behind the
Yeah, he
ball,
was
and
good.
I thought he was too good to leave
Yeah,
where he already was. Kemp was a little bit. I thought he struggled a little bit at times one-on-one
Yeah.
with Radaglia. They had to move Wiedering onto him, and it's just tough. Just a
yeah.
tough
The other
loss.
one was, yeah, it was a bit of a deflator to see Lewis Young out there for McKay. I mean, that was a strange one. I guess what could have we done? I don't
Well, the
know.
other option was Binns or Boyd from the emergencies.
Yeah, I know. That's it. So, yeah. So, look, I think like it's just the team. Like as I said, yeah. So why they didn't play Boyd and Binns is really strange. I'm thinking, are they just trying to find out something about these players? And Chera like is wasted in the back line. He's such a good, he's such a good midfielder. I mean, he has been his whole up until the last sort of until he got injured. But
Hasn't quite been the same since he came back, has he? Hasn't quite had the same.
It's just so because I really like him, and I think, geez, it's there's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of things which aren't really going our way at the moment. I mean, which aren't working, not going our way, but yeah. So for me, I guess the take home. Well, the main in summary, I think it's kind of like it's just kind of it's just something a bit off, and I think it's just kind of like is it something? As I said, like is it? I mean, it's you got to win 4 points. So I'm not saying we're trying to not win 4 points at the expense of finding out something about our players. We're gambling at the selection table, but I feel like we're not kind of technically during the match we're not doing enough. But maybe I'm expecting too much of our players. Maybe they're just not. The coaches don't put them in that high regard to play them in that position. I don't know. I mean, I think there's still, it's kind of pulling my hair out, just trying to work out what it is. And I don't know if anyone's given a sort of a hint of what they think is the clear kind of underlying thing which is going wrong. I think it's
This is the most challenging part about being a fan. We just speculate. We don't know what's happening.
That's it. I mean,
collectively on the inside.
Yeah, and someone else, like that's it about, it's. I mean, you can't say, oh, look, I mean, who's to say we finish top 4 and then waste that in the finals? I mean, we could just, this team is so like that. I mean, we can kind of just fuck up opportunities, I think. So it's kind of like, let's just get there and then let's hope for hell that we play well in the finals. That's all I'm hoping for, Terry.
Yeah.
That's all I'm hoping for. I'm not getting too. It was tough to watch that tonight, but I think now it's just trying to see what this team has in the finals. I was hoping that we'd kind of make a meal of Port tonight. I don't know why I thought that. I must have woken up with a very optimistic mentality today, but I just thought, look, this is our time to. But it was very difficult. As I said, I got bits.
Yeah.
Even though I said, but anyway, McKay, you can't, look, he's irreplaceable. But so let's hope like how we kind of get our act together and the club knows what they're doing.
Let's get to Collingwood next week and go for it there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, geez, that's going to be interesting. All right.
Thanks, Joel.
Cheers, mate. Look at my hair.
You're looking good. I'll speak to you soon. See you, mate. Yuval with $5 says, Slobbo called us out and we think our shit doesn't stink. Now we are a laughing stock. How can the team be so cocky and weak at the same time? Thanks, Yuval. Cripsy.
Terry, have you got me loud and clear, my friend?
Loud and clear indeed, my friend.
Awesome. Back in the car, sitting at Essendon Station. Classic. Yeah. Wow. Okay. What a game of debating. I'm trying to figure out in my mind what levers were pulled and what weren't. Obviously, Harry's a massive loss, especially so close to game time, and I'm sure that's been talked about. I've heard it a few times already, but I felt like there was no commitment to the plan after that. So Lewis Young comes in, and then there was like, cool, Radically is forward. So we'll throw there, and then Radically goes back. So we'll follow him. And then after halftime, we didn't. And it was very interesting to kind of watch the Hempy went forward for one centre bounce and then didn't return back there. I think there was a bit of confusion, potentially in the coach's box, as to who should be where and when. Because we pulled some levers, but then I think there was a lever that didn't get pulled that I wish that we did was Cripper forward. Cripper, I think, was well beaten. I think our midfield was beaten. But I would love to have seen a different midfield three. Throw Chair in the middle. He's not going to get you he's not really getting the numbers that we expect of him. Throw Cripper forward. He's a big unit who controls a large piece of space, who does get on the end of him. And I just didn't see him tonight forward. And I just would have loved to have seen that in the second half at some stage, personally. And yeah, I think with the Harry out, just changed the whole dynamic of the team and the strategy that they had for the week that they had planned. Which is of course massive because he's one of our most important players. And I'm sure Charlie had a great night tonight, but Harry would have been very useful by his side. What your thoughts, Terry, on the idea of not having Boyd's elite kicking at the moment? I feel like his kicking would be amazing right now.
I don't think we missed Boyd's kicking as much as I think we are missing our midfield's attention to detail on the defensive end for 4 quarters, personally. I think our midfield as a group, whether there's too many there, whether the pieces that are there aren't fully in sync. I mean, Chera's not in that mix right now. Carroll's in that mix right now. I don't know. I mean, obviously we're adjusting now post De Koning, so Pito's there. Maybe that takes some adjusting again, but that midfield group leaks clearance more than it has in the past. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's just a great month followed by a poor month that we've just had, and it's just the ebbs and flows of a season. I don't know if we're less desperate than Port tonight because we're holding on to a top 4, top 2 spot. They're trying to win because they've got to survive and stay in the 8, and that's a different type of desperation. Facts are Port were just hungrier for longer.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. I think you're right. We've had some ebbs and flows to that midfield in the last 8 weeks, and at the moment we're in that flow of just not being able to curve the momentum when it starts to go against. And it was really interesting. I was sort of level 2 tonight, and you go Wiedering on Charlie Dixon, and Charlie Dixon had no impact, but it felt like the other forwards had their impact. Georgiades, I think, 3, or 4. I'm just curious. Do you go on? Do you have Charlie Dixon have no impact at all, and Wiedering just impacting the contest that Dixon makes, or do you throw caution to the wind and throw Wiedering elsewhere? I know it's a question that we don't have the answer to, but Charlie's quite cold at the moment. Charlie Dixon, that is. My other question, I felt like you talked about Pito, and obviously we're post De Koning at the moment. I felt like Pito in the first half was jumping. I felt like at center bounce he was jumping in the first half. I couldn't give you the clearance numbers. I felt like we were behind the 8 ball, but it wasn't overly bad. And then in the second half, it felt like he couldn't get off the ground. I don't know, maybe if he copped a knock, but it just felt like, I don't know if the other ruckman just took a different stance, different position, and it made it hard for Pitto to do so. But it just felt like Pitto really struggled in that second half, which in turn meant that we weren't getting anywhere near much of the balls we thought we could or would have. And my last little one, Terry, is I don't know how many inside 50s we conceded tonight. I reckon it was close to 60. I reckon it would have been close to 60. And we kept them under, 70 points?
80 points,
Is that
79.
80 points. That's an incredible effort. In my opinion, that's an incredible defensive effort to keep a team. That's a winnable game. You know what I mean? Like if your opposing team scores 79 points, you go, gee, well, I reckon we can win that. I reckon it's a winnable game. I think that's pretty impressive.
I mean, 91 tackles for Port Adelaide tonight. They had 56 inside 50s. Port to our 45.
91 tackles, did you say?
Port laid 91 tackles tonight. Yeah.
How many were inside 50? I don't know if you have that number, but I'm just curious.
I do have that number, actually. Thank you so much.
A little late night snack.
I got it.
A little late night.
On the way, mate. It's all happening.
Oh, treats.
17.
17. Oh, 17.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just dropped the
17
phone.
tackles. inside
17
50.
says Mason.
Yeah.
That's definitely above average.
Yeah.
That ball was coming in regularly. So I can't really blame the defense, right? Like with that much ball coming in and we're conceding 79 points. I think the magic number's under 75, right? I think that's the magic number we call for. If we're conceding less than 75, we win. Yeah, I think most weeks you'd say I think it's a winnable game based on the numbers that we've got in front of us. And Terry, I just want your final thoughts on should Saad be a little bit further up the ground?
Port did a really good job of paying extra attention to Saad, and I think we on the team show we watched Ken Hinkley's press conference, and they asked him a question which I think the answer gave us a little bit of a key as to what they rate internally at Port about Carlton. So they asked Ken who Willem Drew would play on, and they said, "Oh, will it be Walsh or Cripps?" And then Ken's answer was curious. He said, "Oh, what about Saad?" He mentioned Saad and maybe one other name as well. And I noticed they just were so focused on not allowing Saad to get any handball receives. But in theory, yes, I'd love to see Saad get more of the ball. I'd love to see us work for Saad and block more for him. And maybe that's what it is there. Maybe we're going so far into our shell, we're not working as hard for each other. Like, what happened to rewarding those sorts of efforts, blocking for your teammate, doing something that's going to reward someone else? Like, that's what got us playing our best footy when we were ultra selfless. And I mean, I'm not suggesting that they're selfish, but what I'm suggesting is those over-the-top, extra selfless acts are not there for long enough.
Yeah, I think my question was initially pointed at the thought of bringing him up to a center clearance, like a center bounce, kind of just to see the mix, right? Like a defensive-minded player first, jumping in there with a Hewitt and a Walshy or a Cripper and a Saad, you know what I mean? Just some sort of different shape. And again, we're not coaches, right? We can only kind of sit there and be like, oh, what about this and what about that?
Yeah.
But that's where the curiosity lies, Terry. As fans, we get to sit there and go, well, why didn't Bossy do this and that? So next week is Collingwood. I think we I had us losing one more game this season, which was after the Doggies game. I had us losing one. That was not this one. I actually had us losing to Hawthorn. So my curiosity now lies in the fact that we have to win the last four. We have to win these last four games to be in the four. If not, we're probably traveling, right?
Let's just take it 1 week at a time. Get to Collingwood and worry about the rest.
That's a great call.
That's what I reckon. I reckon we're looking.
Thank you for the reminder, Terry. 1 week at a time.
Now, I reminded myself. I think tonight was just another reminder. It's like, what am I doing thinking about a fucking home qualifying final? Like, I want it and we need it, but I mean, that'll just take care of itself when we get to Collingwood and then whoever's next. So
100%.
let's see. Anyway, man, thanks for
100%.
calling in.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate your time. Up the baggers.
Up the baggers, mate. Okay. Let's go with young Zach Borg. Hello, mate.
Hey, Tez. I'm so disappointed, mate. I'm so disappointed. What I just saw out there, a 1-goal second half. Was it 1 goal? Was 1 goal second half? Was it?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, 2. Tez, that is pathetic, mate. I think that is bad coaching, and I think we didn't take enough risks. Because what I'm very, very disappointed about in the selection is why, first of all, why Chera was playing off halfback and why you generally don't bring Jordan Boyd on. And he's generally a really, really good runner of halfback. And what I'm very, very confused about is, I think it was that last quarter, right? When I think Radigalia was really dominating up forward, right? And then how we were matching him, like if he went there, blah blah blah, right? How we did, and Charlie had no one to help him. I was saying, why is it Kemp forward? Kemp's played forward, but like maybe put him forward and maybe like take a risk, right, to give him some toe up there. And I was like, what the frick are they doing, mate? Like any like risk of putting like another all up forward. I think Lewis Young did a really, really good job tonight. First game back and he really, really did well. He's not the one to blame. I think, obviously he probably will go out of the team next week, but I think he really came in and did his role. But, yes, the 5 dates turnaround, yes, that, but it's just no excuse, Terry. This is the fundamental mistakes, and it just costed us, like stupid handball, stupid turn. It's just, yeah. How did you see it, Terry? How did you see it?
How did I see it? I think I just said it earlier. I mean, it was Port Adelaide were hungrier for longer. Their ability to get the ball out from congestion and find their overlap runners, impressive, to be honest.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Wine's in there. I thought Wine's had a pretty underrated game. And
I think they really, really stopped us well. I think they really stopped, Cripps well, and they just, yeah.
I thought it was more in the midfield. Honestly, I thought it was really our midfield is just getting beaten.
Yeah.
More times than not.
Yeah, I think there's. Yeah, you don't know. You continue. Was you going to say anything?
No, that's it, mate. That's all I've got.
I think there will be a lot of changes next week, and another guy I like to see in. Well, obviously, I think Blake Acres is going to return it next week. He should. Mackay, Boyd probably I'd like to see. And I would really, really, really love to see Jackson Binns. I would really love to see him, on the wing, or maybe a half back for any chance. Because if you have 48 touches he had and 3 goals, something
last week.
If you have that,
if
he has that, you got to bring him. We need to, we have a longer break now. We have time to work on some stuff, like put a really solid team in together. But now is the time to get it right. Because if we drop to Collingwood next week, Terry, like there is big problems. So, it's just,
can we beat the Pies next week?
Of course we can, of course. But I'm going to say this, we need to lift our fucking game, Terry, all right?
Hey,
we're going to, there's changes to be made, and, I saw someone in the comment section say, Voss needs to get back in the box, and maybe he does. But we'll see. And one more thing, how did you see, our defence tonight? I think it was pretty solid, like the last guy said, it was pretty solid. I mean, I don't think our defence was a problem besides Cher at halfback, but yeah, how did you see it?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think our defence was a problem. I think
it's more our midfield, and Just, you know, the clearances, they're just, it's, yeah. There's questions to be asked, you know, there's got time to fix it, and go Blues, Tez, and we'll see you next week.
Good on you, mate. Thanks,
Beat the
Zach.
Pies. See you, Tez. Have a good night.
See you, mate. Love your work, mate. Analia, hello.
Hey Terry, how you doing?
I'm going well. I've got my English breakfast tea now. So
Oh, I've got the chamomile. We're doing the calm down tea over here.
Yeah.
Firstly, how has nobody said the words Matthew Kennedy? That man flew through the air. Flew through the air. Hello, thank you, Matt Kennedy.
That worked. That worked well tonight.
That
worked
was
well
so
tonight.
crazy. It was magic. That was magic.
Yeah.
That was magic. I'm like just laughing at some of these comments, people getting out their emotions. But I think we're forgetting, like, we're hunted now. Like, we've been saying it, but I don't think anyone's actually thought about it. It's two different games, right? If you're hunted, you have to be in the present. Like, we've been talking about it so much this week, right? Be in the present, enjoy the present moment. If you're being hunted, you have to be in the present moment. It's only the hunter who gets time to plan. Like, we're adapting to that, I think. That idea of like not being the ones who can take their time. Like Carlton are the energy that take their time to learn skills. They get really good at them. They work together really well as a team. And now we're this hunted, we have to be more adaptive because we have to be present moment. We don't know, you know, at what side of the forest are people coming at us? What do they know about us that we don't know? Like, they've been watching us and we've been trying to adapt to being in the present moment. And I think we're having a bit of a hard time doing that.
I definitely see it. I definitely see, you know, this is the first time in this group's life that they've been looked at as the litmus test by opposition. And, you know, teams play against Carlton now, and, you know, if we can beat Carlton, then that solidifies our credentials. That never used to be the case. We were the ones that were chasing those teams. We would say if we can beat top 4 teams, and we can start rising. So got to be something into that. How do we get back to the hunters, though? Because we haven't really achieved anything. So how do we get back to being the hunters of the competition?
I think we don't get back to being the hunters. I think we adapt to becoming the hunted and be faster on our feet. And we need to develop a team that is faster on its feet. And to do that, they need to be able to trust themselves and each other. And like, I live my life, I guess, thinking act to the outcome that you expect. And so the outcome that I expect is that we will be in the grand final. And if I expect that outcome, then I trust Daddy Boss. And I think that's a really interesting way to think, because I find a lot of people come at a loss just with this is going wrong and this is going wrong. And I like to get in people's heads, I guess. And so I like to think, what is he trying to figure out? Like, if he has run the numbers and he knows, okay, we can take a few risks with this game. There's these players we need to test out. We need to test out all of these things for this like overall purpose, that he is also acting to the outcome that we all expect, is that they will be good enough to win the grand final. And so each of these games is somewhat a little test up until we get to that point where we actually need to be able to be quick on our feet, to be adaptable, to be able to be hunted and successfully get away. And I find that each of these losses, you see something like that we've learned. And I think Collingwood are in trouble next week. I think we have learned a lot of things since the last time we played them. And I think each game that we've played, we've kind of really found something that, like, and you can tell because everyone in, like, the fans get mad at, you know, one thing. Oh, this wasn't working. This wasn't working. And if a collective of people is noticing that, you know, the coaches are noticing that, and we're adapting, even if right now it's behind the scenes. And it was interesting in the watch along because you felt the energy drop with the energy that we were watching, you know, like at the stadium as well. And I think that's really interesting. It's like everyone kind of gave up halfway through instead of just trusting and being present and have, like, that was so exciting. Come on, as if that wasn't exciting. The first half was so exciting, and then the energy kind of dropped and everyone got really worried, got into that fear again, instead of being like, okay, what are we trying to figure out? Like, and I understand losing sucks and that's awful, but I think it's interesting to think, what are we trying to figure out here? What is it? Like come on, Port Adelaide have got some giants for starters. That's crazy. Some of them are very good players, and we have to admit that. But we can respond. We get to see that side of the people hunting us when we lose like that. And we need to know those sides of the people that are hunting us. So I think it's an interesting to kind of become more of a detective when we're in those situations than someone pointing out what's going wrong. I think it's more, for me, it's more interesting to think, what are you trying to figure out with that? Like, that doesn't make sense. What are you trying to figure out, and how's that going to help us in the future? I think is really interesting.
Yeah, there's something about this group, and it could be just part of their evolution to learn how to, sort of lead with their performance. But when there's seeds of doubt planted on them, and when there's that fear of not getting it done closer to them than what it is further away from them, and their backs are against the wall, so to speak, they can find the magic. But when they're sort of, we put ourselves in a really strong position. We had that 5-game stretch. We won 5 in a row. Second spot. We've been there for a couple of weeks now. It's a position we haven't been in. They haven't adjusted well to being ahead of sort of level with the pack. Now it's like, okay, now you're going to fall back with the pack. Seeds of doubt will be planted. Fear will be planted.
Yeah.
It's like
the energy of the universe right now, Terry, the last month, I'm sure every single person listening to this would agree, the last month of everybody's lives has been chaos, right? The energy of the universe has been out of control. Like, so many things have been going on for everybody, all of my clients, everybody I know, myself, literally everybody. And we are coming out of that energy now, having learned lessons. And so I am positive about moving forward. And I believe that Daddy Boss and his team know what they're doing. And it's the time that they have used to try these things is very interesting for that, because this is kind of a trial period that we have been in energetically with the universe as well. And just the energy tonight, which was, really about, you got empowered by being confident in who you are. Yeah. And once you're saying, once that confidence started to slip from them, they couldn't work together as a team, because you can't adapt quickly like that when you don't have confidence that you can. And then everybody loses that confidence, and we get chased down because we're not adaptable. And Charlie plays his best when he's in that mode, right? And I think what happened tonight was he played his best at the start, being adaptable the way that he does, really stepping up. Harry wasn't there. He kind of started remembering who he was. And then in the second half, it was as if they kind of oh, okay, he's back, he's going to do his thing. And then, you were talking about we weren't kicking to him properly, but I think it's because they were trying to force that instead of just going with the energy, because he plays best like that. He's where he needs to be. When they're in sync, they're in sync. But when they're kind of forcing being in sync, which is what it felt like tonight, especially with Charlie, it just, the kick wasn't quite right. It wasn't going in the right way because it wasn't the right thing to be doing. They were forcing something when normally being reactive with him is the best way to go. I think they're learning. I think they're definitely learning that.
Yeah. Well, we've got a month to go. 4 big games.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
Collective energy is important.
Inshallah. Hopefully we get a big win next week against the Pies and start the run.
They deserve it.
Thanks so much for coming in and sharing.
My pleasure. Go Blues.
Go Blues. Jad.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Sweet.
Yeah, it happened in the last 3 hours watching that shit.
That was bad, man. That second half.
Mate, I've listened to the fan cams, and I just, for me, today's game was, I actually got some answers out of today's game, just for me. These issues that I keep seeing, they've persisted for the last 2-3 years, mate. So we talk about getting pinned in our back half and long down the line. And we have there's not a team in the AFL who doesn't use their weapons like we don't, or like we do.
Oh, mate.
Fuck,
that's
my
a-
brain's fried.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
So we talk about down the line shit, right? And yeah, we are doing that. There's no dispute, but we have the weapons to not fucking do that. And I'm sorry, I've run out of patience. I am sick of it not being fixed because we have the personnel to stop doing this kick to the pocket long down the line. Kick to the pocket long down the line. We have a guy named Adam Sard, okay? And I know he's won an All-Australian with us, but I am sorry. We are on the verge of wasting his entire fucking tenure with us because we have not got out of him what we brought him in to do. We never brought him in to be a lockdown small fucking defender. I don't care if he's a bit loose in the back line and concedes a couple goals. I don't give a shit. He shouldn't be blamed for that. That's not why he is there. I was under the impression the Adam Sard we were getting, and this is not a knock on him because he's proven he can do it. This is a knock on our coaches. He's proven what he can do. And I thought we were getting the Essendon Adam Sard, the Gold Coast Adam Sard, the line breaker, the guy who, instead of crab walking sideways, would burst through lines and pick out zones and pick off zones. Or maybe he'd, run by and receive a handball receive. Now, it fucking blows my mind that we don't use him. And I heard some people bring up before, they're tagging Sard, right? Our teams put work in a side, but do they? Do they put work in a side? But okay, maybe today. But over the course of his tenure at the club, when have we ever used him in a way that other clubs would be worried about Sard? Because we don't use him. We don't use his run.
Do you think they haven't fully trusted him in a really weird way for that? And if so, why? Because he's I reckon he's the only player in our team that can make us look, you think of Sydney, you think of Blakey just streaming. Like, we can do that with Sard. We don't do it enough.
I think what's happened is that the club at some point caved to that pressure that he doesn't defend. And I think he at some point down the line, he may have got his ass chewed out about why he doesn't defend. And I think that's just what's happened. Because he can do it. And it's disgusting that we don't use it, mate. Like, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. And then, so I was level 2 today. And it's not just Sard, which is the problem, the use of Sard. Because our biggest issue for me, my biggest bugbear is our transition out of D50. We can't do it. And you see other teams do it. Handball receive 1-2 coming out of defense, hit a short kick. Or at least do a handball receive 1-2, get to 45, then launch long. But we love to launch long from that pocket, 30 meters out from goal, and we get stuck. And watching them today set up for when we're kicking out of D50, they all shuffle to the one side. And I'm telling you, mate, there was not one dummy lead, not one. No attempt to try and confuse or deceive their opponent to try and create space to get an exit. There's nothing. They all just shuffle to the one side and they go along and they hope for a 50 low percentage play, 50-50 ball hits a deck and we can go from there. Like, it's killing me, Terry. And it's been an issue for so long now. And I've just given up that they're going to try and fix it because they're not. No one works to create a dummy lead. No one's working to create that space. And that's why it just doesn't happen. Like, week to week, I watch the fan cams, I watch everyone's reviews. I go on Twitter. Why do we keep going long down the line? We're just getting pinned, mate. It doesn't change. I'm sorry, it doesn't change. I don't know. And then if you want to talk about the midfield, okay. So, look, my bugbear of the last month, as well, I know I'm going on a little rant, but...
No, mate, this is fucking amazing, by the way. So you just keep going.
Good. All right, good. So I was like you the last month. I was keeping my powder dry because I just figured, look, good teams get into form slumps at this stage of the year. You saw it happen with Sydney. We're going to work our way out of it, okay? But today, now, like you said earlier, I've got alarm bells going off everywhere, okay? So for me, it sits with the coaches because it's one thing to fall out of form, but there was no reason for us to fall out of form over the last month. This, to me, is self-inflicted. They messed with a working, humming system to get in players who they perceive as their go-to. They wanted Cottrell in and they wanted Shearer in. They thrust them into a working system and they've just fucking thrown the whole shit out of balance. And people are commenting it saying, oh, it looks off, it looks off. Yeah, it's the balance. There was no reason to rush these guys in straight off injuries back into the team. And in Chera, that was Cottrell. In Chera's case, there's no, what's wrong with letting him toil in the twos until he earns his spot or until someone falls out of form? Maybe then he can come in. There was no reason to thrust him in just because his hamstring was better. The bloke can't drive through his legs at the moment. Why the fuck is he in the team? And then you put him on halfback, a position that requires a bit of drive and a bit of run. He can't plant on that foot. I understand we want him to be a best 22, and the long run, he will be. I've got no doubt over Adam Chera. But the way that our coaches have completely disgruntled that system, that humming system, and now a month later, we are completely in fucking tatters and out of form. Completely fucking cooked in every aspect of our game. Because when I think of a team, getting out of form, maybe it requires a heartbreaking loss or a few injuries, and then you kind of derail a bit. But that didn't happen to us. This was coaches getting too cute and too comfortable. Oh, we've got Chera to come back, we've got Cottrell to come back. And then they've just completely derailed this side. Now, Sam Walsh. He has to be the poorest kick inside 50 when he's under pressure, and he doesn't seem to have the power, the physical power to be an inside midfielder and brush off players and push off, because he gets caught holding the ball surely the most in the league in the midfield every fucking week.
I reckon since they adjusted the interpretation for a quicker whistle, I reckon I've never seen him pinned more in his career.
And I think that's because, I agree, mate, and that's because he doesn't have the power to create that space when contact comes. Now, for him, you want Chera in the team. Chera's spot is Walsh's spot. So what the fuck are we doing? If Walsh does not want to go to a wing, like he did last year in that final series, and do a hybrid wing role, half forward, I think, from memory, correct me if I'm wrong, as well. If he doesn't want to do it, you make him do it. I don't care if his ego gets hurt because he wants to be, Cripper's number 2 guy. That role is for Chera. He cannot play that inside role anymore. I'm sorry, maybe every now and then he can pinch it, but when I look at Walsh, his incredible weapon is his run. Right? We're not, this is like linked to the Sard thing as well. We're not using the strengths of our players. His strength is his gut run. No one can gut run with this bloke. So why don't we put him in a position where he can actually use it? You look at Port's midfield, Butters, Rosie, Horne-Francis. Oh, it's an incredible mix. We don't have that at all. And Walsh isn't the answer to any of that. He's not our Rosie. He's not our Butters. So his role has to change. And if you want Chera in so fucking badly, that's the sacrifice you're going to have to make. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't. You can't have Walsh, Chera, Cripps in the midfield together. They're all too similar of a player. There's no genuine leg speed in there. Cripper's our ball. Chera's a bit of inside and out, can use his class. Walsh doesn't seem to be able to handle the physical pressure of that role. So he has to, how about we actually use some fucking nous and understand our players and try and, the word escapes me, try and, cater to their needs.
Play to their strengths. Maybe
an ego or two is going to be bruised, but fuck it, I don't give a shit. I'm sure ultimately the group doesn't care. We want a flag out of this shit. Just these issues are persisting too long, but the transitioning out of D50 is a real problem, mate. It's down the line. It's just, if you're not going to show imagination to try and change it, I don't know what we're doing. No run and gun, nothing. No dummy leads, nothing.
I think you've highlighted something that we kind of scratched the surface with maybe half an hour ago or an hour ago, whenever it was. I think you've highlighted a bit of a lack of selflessness. Like work
That's
for
a good
Sard,
point.
work for Charlie with the dummy leads, work for Sard to get him open in space.
But this is where I get confused.
I don't think it's like it can be done in one game. I really believe it can be done in one game. It can. These things that we're pinpointing, I truly believe can be fixed with like the next time with the ball bounces in the next 4 quarters.
But this is where I get confused, mate, because I've thought this the last 4 weeks and it hasn't
Yeah.
come. And
I
the
think we'll rely on
selflessness thing, is that a personnel thing or is it a coaching thing?
I think it's a collective mentality thing. I reckon we sometimes fall into the trap of relying on the individual brilliance as opposed to working like the cog in the machine. Like I thought our best footy was when we had double-digit goal kickers, the even spread. It was coming from all angles. And that's when I thought that 5-game stretch is when I thought we reached a real peak. Maybe early in the season, we looked solid as well.
Well, that Geelong game, that was our best performance of the year by far for me. And the one thing that's even just thinking about it now, I haven't watched the game since, that weekend. The one thing that sticks out for me from that game was the space in which we operated in. The short kicks, the short 30s, the short 15s, the short 45s, the give and goes. It just seems like we're getting so sucked in that I don't know. Look, I'm really, yeah.
I'll tell you this, mate. You've been on fan camps for many, many years. That was head and shoulders the most cathartic one I've ever sat through.
Oh, that's good. Fuck. Well, that's good.
I don't want it to end.
Mate.
Like 10
I'm
people
worried.
waiting.
Well, are you worried? I'm fucking worried.
Am I worried?
I'm really worried.
I'm not really worried. Sorry, as in like my worry levels out of 10 are not 10 out of 10. I'm concerned. I think we are susceptible. I think we are adjusting to this mentality of like we have house money. We've never had house money to play with. We've usually been...
What do you mean by house money? Do you mean like...
We found ourselves in such a strong position at the top of the ladder. Like we haven't had that many... We haven't been in that position before as a group. We've been chasing to get into the 8 and just get in. And then we went on that run last year. And this is the first year that we've been really at the top-ish of the ladder all season. Like we've not had this before. And now we're getting to this pointy end. And now we're starting to see teams that a little bit more hungry than us because they've got a little bit more desperation because they're in a more dangerous position than us on the surface, right? So like we're top 2, looking at it pre-game, top 2, cool. The Giants were out of the 8 when we played them. I believe they were 10th. The Doggies were out of the 8 when we played them. I believe they were 9th or 11th, somewhere there. Port, they lose tonight. They're out of the 8 by the end of the round. So it's just really getting to that pointy end of the season and the margins are thinner and we haven't clicked into gear yet. That's concerning. That's concerning.
But what's concerning about that, so I'm going to let you go in a sec, but what's concerning about that is the fact that that's even fucking possible. So Mark Robinson wrote that article, Carlton getting ahead of themselves. And basically what that just means is that maybe they are. And if that is the case, what have we done to get comfortable and to not know how to close out a season in top 2? Why are GWS and Port, who I don't even rate, by the way, which makes today even fucking worse, how are they more hungry than us? What have we done to not be hungry? We're not a young list anymore.
I think it's less about what we've achieved and more about this year. So like the lifeblood of GWS this season was on the ropes a few weeks ago. The lifeblood of the Dogs was there. The lifeblood of Port season, if you look at their run as well.
Yeah.
So we've got to find a way to keep our hunger while we're at that pointy end at the top. And, maybe a bit of a reality check. Again, fucking I don't know.
Yeah, again.
But maybe getting out of the top 2 by the end of this round will shake them up a little bit and realize, oh my God, you're flirting with danger again. Like click into gear. So
Yeah, I just don't ever want to see us take the game on with 2 minutes left when the game's over. That's disgusting because that tells me that, pressure's off, let's do it now. Fucking grow up. Anyway, get to the rest of it, mate.
Man, that was great. Thank you very much. Go Blues.
No, all good, bye. Go Blues.
That was fucking fantastic. That was. That's what that was just brilliant. Adam and Nicola, where are you guys? Okay, you're not there. Mason. Hello, mate.
Hello, Terry. Oh, what a nightmare game to watch. Oh, breaks your heart. It does. It kills you.
Yeah.
Mate, such a good start. Like, we had that Sydney game. We had the Giants game. We started on so strong. It's the first quarter, no. First quarter, we're figuring them out. Vossi will probably talk to us and get us going for that second. But, man, the fall off. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It baffles me, mate. Like, I don't get it. I just want to start off.
What do you think it is? What do you think the structure, mentality, both? Like, what's your gut feel as to what has happened?
Mate, it's a collective of a lot of things. And to be honest with you, a couple guys back before said Voss is collecting information at this part of the season with the way we're positioning our players and who we're deciding to pull back and pull forward mid-game. Like Curnow being pulled back to flood defensive 50, full back with 2 minutes to go I think it was 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Like, what are we doing? The game's nowhere near over. Why are we pulling Curnow back? Bring him mid. Bring him, up on the wing where they keep, for some reason, bombing the ball down. We don't need Curnow there. We don't need Chera half back. I think
Curnow was probably the only one. When I think about on the ground tonight, I think Charlie Curnow was the only one that was able to take a contested mark. Maybe McGovern in the air.
I can agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But it hurts. It's mate, Elijah, I tip my hat off to you, mate. Superstar game tonight. He can hit a target from anywhere. He's the good Hollands. Ollie, mate, I think you need a vacation to the twos, mate.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's something that I'm just seeing myself. I don't know if I'm I've got tunnel vision on him, but every mistake he's making is so avoidable. It's like they've posted it on the AFL Instagram. It's a play with him and Cripps. It's a 1-2 play. It's rushed. It's just sloppy. He doesn't take time. And it seems like it's just a skill issue at the moment. When you bring out Boyd and you pull, Chera back and you're playing Ollie Hollands in this lackluster mid, it's not. Am I the only person that's thinking this? Like, I don't get it. It feels like everyone around me at the ground was thinking the exact same thing. But not a lot of people have been saying it tonight. It's surprising me. I may be wrong.
I think Ollie is a second-year player.
Yep.
I think he does a really good job with his defensive running, and then I think sometimes he lets himself down with the way he uses the ball. Sounds like a kid in his second year, to be honest.
And that's it. Like, I hate point fingers, but we have experience. We have a Boyd. We've got players that take trips to the VFL. When we're playing these inexperienced players, and there's nothing.
What was the alternative, do you think, with no Akers as well? Like in this case tonight,
picks these injuries. I believe the McKay late change was something to do with a concussion. I have a funny feeling about what happened last week. It's a bit of a
I'm with
precaution.
You. That was
don't risk it.
There's a bit of there was a bit of fluff going on with Mackay being a laid out, like illness
That
this
is-
morning. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a big
I don't
issue,
know.
isn't it? It stinks of crap, to be honest. You
Mate,
can smell that from a
you
mile
can
away. I
smell
saw
the
that.
shit. Yeah,
I smelled my phone before the notification even showed up, and I go,
yeah. I was like,
yeah, that smells of an MRO right there. Yeah.
there's something going on with that. I don't know. There was, yeah.
Look, up by 5 goals at halftime, and then that happens. It's
Yeah.
like, we just looked dumbfounded. We looked scared. We didn't have that effort. Mate, we play like this these next 4 weeks. I'm sorry, Hawks will dominate us. They are in form. And Collingwood, look, I said it before walking in tonight. I said, look, if it's a close game tonight, we could probably take Collingwood, but they bring it every time they play us. And I'm not confident anymore. We can't play like this. We can't play like this. 2 big outs tonight. Yeah.
Lose by 10 goals next week.
And you know what, Terry? You might not see me on the fan cams ever again if that happens, because none of my technology will work. It will be gone. I will delete everything. I can't stand.
Blues win by 10 goals.
Oh no! Sorry, if it was the latter. Look, if they win by 10 goals, we don't even need finals, man. I'm happy. Just beat them. No, seriously, it's scary times, mate. We're a game out of the 8. That's what we're a game out of a prime position right now. We're a game or 2, I believe. Like, just the way
We're
the cards
out of the 8.
We lose another game or 2 in these next 4, we are done. That's it. That's where we are. Just it's risky at the moment, and I love this club. I stay till the very end of every game. There are some games like today where you want to get up and go, but you got to wait. You celebrate with the wins. You got to go with the losses too. But today was hard.
Yeah, man.
And
Mate, we sat through 10 goal losses, one after the other.
We
a couple
did.
more minutes wouldn't have hurt.
That's it. And I've been a member for 7 years, and I've seen the worst. 24. I've never seen a granny, and it hurts. But mate, the loyalty is important. You got to stay with these guys, but you got to pick out these errors. You have to. I'm a professional spectator. I'm not a player, so I like, you got to take what I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, there's just
we need somewhere to come and just put it all out there, and that's why we do this.
You can't bundle these emotions up. You just got to someone's got to say it.
We've got to get them out, mate. We've got to let it out, and before we can move on. So hey, appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. Go Baggers. Come on, we got this next 4 weeks, boys. Let's do it.
See you, mate. Fucking love that. Love it. Beachy, it's time.
So this is the game I returned to. I catch the 4th quarter of our game against the Power in front all night. All night, the Power then run over the top of us and win it by 14 points. Come on, boys. You've got a top 2 spot on the line here. If not top 4, we can probably not worry about top 8 all that much. But if we keep dropping games, well then, Jesus, boys, you're fighting for your spot in the 8 as well.
We are flirting with danger, and we have been flirting with danger for a month now.
A month too long.
Yep.
A month too long. Before I went away, we lost to GWS. I was away, we lost to the Dogs. I was away, we beat North Melbourne. I return, we lose to the Power. A game we probably should have won tonight, and won comfortably, considering the last time we played them, we won by 6 goals on their deck in front of their feral fans.
Yeah. Just looking at this here, the centre bounce attendances. Cripps 22, Pitto 19, Walsh 18, Hewitt 16. So there's your sort of your main group there. Interesting. Chincotta 7, Young 5, obviously pinched. He was pinch hitting in there. Carroll and Chera 3 each. I thought Carroll was there more. But there's that. Kennedy 2, Elijah Hollins 1.
Okay.
So that's our midfield group. What are you making of what's going on there?
Well, what I'm making of that is how easy it was for them, Port Adelaide, that is, to get it to be the centre of the middle again. Like when the Dogs, the Giants, and North beat us out of the middle and beat us out of the contest. Okay, yeah, you had Walsh there, you had Cripps there, and you had all the other players there. But when your regulars weren't there, what was going to happen? Because the defense can only do so much. Now that's not a critical. That's not not me being critical of our mids. Sorry, of our defense. They can only do what they can do. But our mids need to be harder at the ball, because that's now the 4th week in a row they've had to fight face to face for the footy without expecting it to happen.
Yeah. Got to get back to basics, Beachy.
That's it, mate.
The basics got us in this strong position, and we've gone away from it.
Exactly. The basics got us in this position. The defensive, the opposition of their defense could not handle it. And now that they've realized, right, we're going to go back to basics ourselves, take it to us, get in their face, and make it harder for them to get out. What do you reckon's then happened next? We've then seen this little domino effect of opposition clubs beating us out of the middle. Now, fortunately, we get Collingwood next week, and you know what? If I had a book here, mate, I would have probably thrown it out the window to tell you that that's what the form is at the moment. But, when it comes to Collingwood, mate, anything and everything can happen.
Don't want to imagine what a loss next week will do.
Oh, fuck, mate. I can imagine how I'm going to be feeling if we drop that, because they're hard enough to deal with as it is.
Fuck. What are you wanting to see from a guy like Jack Martin? Do you think we've got to get him back into the side? Sorry. Do you think he's got to earn his way in? But do you think we're missing? I was going to say, do you think we're missing him in the side? But we're missing Harry as well. So there wasn't another marking forward there that we didn't have. But now that we don't have 2 rucks, do you think it's time to add another marking target in the forward line?
Yeah. The only question is, who is it?
Yeah.
Is it a Martin? Is it someone else? I don't know. I don't have that answer. Only the people that are in the coach's box that are there every week have that answer more than us. And at the moment, as I sit here, I've only arrived back in Australia tonight, or it's effectively last night. But I'm now going to figure out what that answer is, just like everybody else, including yourself.
Yeah. Tough times, Beachy. Tough times, mate.
Mate, this has been a rough patch. And if someone had said that we'd go through this rough patch after beating Port Adelaide, Geelong, Essendon, and Richmond in randomly consecutive weeks, you'd have been saying, "No, this is the easy part now." No, this is
No,
now
we've made it
become
hard
the
for
hardest.
ourselves.
No, we've made it harder for ourselves unintentionally, but this is typical because now we are in a position that we don't want to be in, and we're really used to this. So now we need to make sure that we use this final month that's ahead, which is Pies, Hawks, Eagles, Saints, and really get to work, because now we have opposition just sniffing for blood. And the minute they get closer to it, they're gonna smell it. And once they smell it, that you know what's nearby. That's us.
Beachy, well said, mate. Thanks for calling in. Welcome home. And see you next week.
Good on you, Matt.
See ya. Oh dear. Tyler.
Terry, seriously, I want to know. My patience is wearing very thin at the moment. I can imagine probably yours is just a little bit as well. Just a little bit. It's
I'm
being
not
tested,
panicking
we'll
yet.
say.
They're testing me. They're
Yeah,
fucking testing it. They're
it's testing you,
definitely testing my fucking patience.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've built up a lot of credits in the bank. They've
Mhm.
done well. And tonight, particularly the drop off in that third, and then to not respond in that fourth, I was like, like what's going on? Is it just as simple as more desperate opposition? You know, our structure and the way we move the ball, significantly impacted with the changes from last week. I don't know, but yeah, still think we can respond, and I still think we will respond
agree.
and find our form again.
Oh, I agree. But I also think that we have just lost ourselves, to be honest,
Mhm.
at the moment. We really have. And I'll use this little bit of a terminology. It's a boxing reference, but like they've forgotten, like they scored the knockdown. That was the games against, all the 5 games in a row where they were absolutely dominating. That was their knockout. Oh no, that was their knockdown. And then they've forgotten how they did it.
Yeah.
Basically, they've actually forgotten how they did it, and now they're being hit, and now they need to learn how to put themselves back into that position to get the fight back on their terms. And is it selection? Is it heart? Like, is it effort? It's a mixture of both. Surely now it's at a point now. It is a mixture of both. And this is what I couldn't believe. Like, the effort was there in the first half. Where did it go in the second half? Like, are we paying too much respect to the opposition? Are we literally going, okay, we are that far ahead that, okay, we have the ability now to literally pull it, like, basically stop the flow and just play the game out defensively, like super defensively. No attacking, all of that. And you saw that in the fourth quarter in particular. We were just trying to hang on.
Yeah.
And
trying to hang on from the work that we did in the second quarter. It was fascinating.
Yeah. You can't explain the mentality behind it. Like seriously, it's just a drop. The drop off is enormous. And I think also, like, Jad's made that point, like trying to fit so many players into the team. I think he's 100% right. Like, seriously, if the minute you got to play Chera on half back, and you explaining the numbers like through the midfield and all of that, it's got to show, like, you're trying to put it's like too many chefs spoiling the broth. Basically, you're trying to put too much in there to suit the new game style that you want to play. And remember, I said to you last week that I get it. They're trying to fine tune. They're trying to tinker with the system and get it right before finals. Well, next week's your last. To me, literally next week is it. Play the team as how you want to play in the finals, because seriously, the effort was not there, but more importantly, I think it was also a mixture of selection, coaching. It just was not there today, and that's what's frustrating me. It's just so beyond frustrating. I love it. I love this team, but
of course, no, we
yeah.
The love is unquestioned, and we're all just kind
absolutely
of waiting for them to snap out of it. But I think what you said at the start when you came on, like, they've lost themselves. They have a bit. And I think there's one more breakthrough that they've got to get through.
Yep.
And we're currently living through it right now. We're watching it. And it's this final hurdle, I believe.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but I think also because you saw the lead up to this game, and obviously it was after North Melbourne as well. Like they said, yeah, no, like we're ready. We're going to come out and we're going to have a good game and all of that. But see, saying the words and believing in the words is a completely different thing. Because in the end, you've got to go out and prove it. You got to show it and all of that. But for some reason, hey, you could have fooled me. That first half was actually good. I thought it was good. But then the fact that you could say they went into their shells. They went into conservation. They went to safe mode and all of that. For some reason, there was no daring, like no attacking through the corridor. Like for God's sake, there was no attack, like just attacking in general. It was just, I just couldn't believe it. Like this, and Pommy said it at the very beginning of the fan camps. This isn't us. We are not a pretty side. No, we have gone from the bully to being bullied.
Absolutely agree with that.
And so we need to get that mindset back right. We should not be fearing these teams. They should be fearing us. Like you look at Sydney right now. I would say they're feared at the moment. Yes, okay, they've had a couple of shaky games, but they haven't been that shaky all year. They've been feared because of how well they've played. And when they get on the field, they are dominating from the get-go. They do not slow down. And if we want to prove that to the rest of the competition, let alone in a final, we need to show it now. Don't wait till the final, because it's not going to matter much in the end. If you're not going to bring the heat now, you just got to literally give it your all. And until they decide that they want to give it and really go, yep, this is it, let's go, we will be seeing another game like this. And I hope it's not against Collingwood. I mean it, Terry. I think that will break me if we lose against Collingwood. I think we will definitely wrestle it back in the back end of the season, or the very last three games. But if we lose to Collingwood with all of their outs and the team that they're fielding, oh mate, I think it'll break me. It'll break me.
First of all, no, it won't.
No, it won't.
It won't break you. We've seen worse. We've lived through worse.
Yeah.
So we'll be right.
We will be. But
we just don't want to lose to Collingwood next week.
No,
and we want to play finals. And we want to win a flag. So
yeah, that's it.
Anyway, Tyler.
Endeavour and survive, Terry.
Love your work, mate. Thanks for calling in.
No worries. See ya.
See ya. Danny, let's do. Oh, okay. Lucinda, hello.
I'm not sure if I intercepted or not, but if you wanted a headline, perfect premierships don't exist. You don't win all 24. You don't even win all 20. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you personally want to make a statement against Port and then win every second week? Or do you want to not humiliate yourself, lose to Port, and win the next 4 and go further?
Does winning the next 4 guarantee that you go further?
It gives you the opportunity to go further if you work hard enough. And it's not just this guy that needs to. He's doing more than enough. And he's a leader, and he will help the people in his squad as a vice captain, sort of take on board the constructive criticism. But also,
so let's just break down. What was your summary of tonight, the game?
Essentially, the very first thing that stood out was Cottrell had a 30-second countdown, and a Port player tackled him during his approach. He kicks it to get rid of it, catches his own ball, is tackled again, it's a behind. So I don't know what the deal is, how they weren't reprimanded, whether it was one Port Power guy or two. I was under the understanding that if the 30-second thing was happening, they're not allowed to tackle, so or intervene.
Well, wait, sorry,
And
Lucinda. Sorry. As in a little bit more broad overall summary of the game, as
yeah, that's
opposed
fine.
to an individual moment.
hmm Well, generally, I feel that when we were keeping it close, there was, reason for calm. Then obviously we have the lead. Then it just felt a bit frustrating when we've defended the lead and then, a few unfortunate series of events means that we're not defending a lead. So for argument's sake, if Elijah had kicked late, then we go up by, I think, 3 or so, and then that could have changed it. But,
Yeah.
that's not on him. It's
What do you
not on
think is
them.
the cause to the? What do you think is the cause to the lack of synergy with the group at the moment?
I
Is it just
think
a
that
tough
they
spot in the season? Is it just part of the fixture? Is it just that sticky point in the year? Like, why do you think we haven't been able to just get going again?
I think people returning from injury, unfortunately, has been a problem because if you have a 5-match winning streak, just because, your loved ones are coming back, if you have got a guaranteed 23 that has done 5 consecutive wins, you should have said, no worries, we'll get you right and you'll come back when you need to. And then we probably would have, maybe dropped one anyway, but we probably would have got more wins if we hadn't changed anything, not broken. Why mess with it? And I understand, reintegrating players, and it could have worked fine. I mean, we're losing by less than 3 goals. Any selection could have done that.
Mm.
But I just feel like I certainly wasn't expecting, 3 or 4 more 60s or 30s or whatever, even if, that would have been nice. But at the same time, I think the same 23 or close to it, barring, illness, whether it's legit or not. I feel that against Giants, Dogs, etc., the lineup of the previous 5 shouldn't have changed at all, no
Fair.
matter who's romantically coming back.
Fair. Do you think we had to take a bit of a step back to get those boys in, get them reclimatized to the group? I mean, the rest of the season hasn't played out yet, so the story
No.
is not complete. But do you think that having them back in the side now and getting a month under their belts is going to be good for us now, and like we can start to see them hopefully find their form again? Because there's just a collective lack of synergy. Like the connection of the group was what made it so special. And now it just seems like 1 or 2 dominoes, 3 dominoes are out of sync, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame, no matter how stuffed the umpiring seemed, because we're a Carlton side that had 3 total free kicks and beat the Suns, winning every quarter and winning by 29. So no matter how much skullduggery that is, not being said, we are a they shouldn't get away with it side normally. So
Right.
the not talked about aspect, and there was a lot of shit, we shouldn't have let that, been a factor. But it kind of was, and it wasn't just the dying minutes, it was kind of scattered, littered everywhere. But at the same time, they're an AFL side and they're
Yeah.
still a serious contender. I don't give a stuff what anyone says. But you kind of have to have these grounding experiences to draw on in tight situations, providing they do get themselves in, the finals campaign, whether that's do or die every week, which is momentum football, might suit them better, or we have nothing to worry about and we have, the broken up, rests still.
Yeah.
But, you can't win them all.
You can't
And
win them all. Ain't that
no,
the truth? You
I
can't
just
win them
like,
all.
I just think that the narrative that I've seen in losses throughout the whole of 2024 can still ring true for the next 4 weeks and or beyond when relevant. It's not an if, it's a when. You
Mhm.
have to have the when mentality, because if we have the when, then they will take it as a, they still believe in us. So I'm at a unique vantage point where I'm at an event that's got Kerno, Mackay, and kind of, I guess, an outside sort of previous experience with Fev. So I can sort of, give them a good message that might not be, all doom and gloom, if you like. So that's a unique
Yeah.
perspective.
When's
But
that?
what I'm trying to say,
When is that event?
it was supposed to be tomorrow, but I'm guessing with Harry's knock and or this illness thing, it's now Tuesday, unless it's
Maybe
changed
moved to
again.
Tuesday.
As
Cool.
far as I know, it's Tuesday.
Last point.
But
What have you got?
yeah, I just think in closing that you really need to give them a nurturing environment. Yes, hold them accountable, give them, a little sort of constructive criticism. That's fine, but don't actually ball and chain their, evolution to getting back there, because you run the potential risks of they're going onto the field knowing that a lot of the supporters are justifiably upset and or pissed, which is fine. And maybe they would say that's warranted. We're going to, try and, do it for them and prove them wrong and stuff. But if you have happy emotions, like, yeah, we understand what happened, but we're not okay with it, but we're really rallying to turn the narrative. That's not just on the players. They shouldn't have to rewire their brains to get back on the ground to what they're doing. They need support, because it can't just be, oh yeah, this shit again, PTSD sort of crap. It
Yep.
needs to evolve with the times. They're
Yep.
evolving to a premiership side. We need to evolve to a good, bad, and actually let the wins work and the losses evolve to more wins down the road. Because if
Yep. I'll get your
on
point.
September,
I get your
yeah,
point.
but if on
Yep.
September 30 we're lifting the trophy, like this round gets us there because it helps us forge our lessons to get us there. You have to lament the losses, but you can't stew on them more than 24 hours. They're not, we shouldn't.
Correct. So we're going to get through tonight, and we're going to get through tomorrow, and then we're going to get on with it. Lucinda, thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Go Blues.
Go Blues. Win next 4. Bugger it.
See ya. Danny.
Absolutely cooked I am, mate. The long journey from the game, but I'm not seeing the game as most of the people's that came on saw it. I'm more with Jads. Terry, I'm very positive when it comes to wins and losses and all of that stuff. But mate, when are we gonna learn? When are we gonna learn? When we same mistakes going through the corridor, and just literally, I'm just repeating myself like a broken record because everyone said that point, but just baffles me that they just are not taking risks until it's like the last 5 minutes of the game. I was on level 2 and Piero was injured, Terry. I saw him just like touching his hammy, I think, in the third quarter, and I noticed it and I was like, what's happening there, to my friend. And trust me, and probably you'll watch the game again and you'll pick it up as well. He was not the same after that.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't notice that. Interesting.
Yeah, I was at the game on level 2, so I actually saw that vision. I'm very certain that was the reason. But yeah, mate, I gotta go, but I'll talk to you later.
All right, mate.
Cheers. Sorry, mate.
See ya. Lucas.
Oh, what a disappointing loss. For a lot of the games that we've lost, I've had expectations going into it that we would win. I really thought we'd beat the Dogs. But all week I've just felt so shit about this game. I just had a feeling that we weren't going to play well. And I know that's not really the mentality that you want to have. But yeah, I mean, we don't learn. We actually really don't learn. Like, I feel like I like Voss as a coach, right? But some of his decision making, I just can't get with. Like, Cottrell, I'm sorry, he is not good enough. Like, we brought him back in way too quickly. He was playing as a winger for the whole game, and he got 10 possessions.
What do you think the better alternative tonight would have been?
Bins. I know a lot of people would have been saying it, but
What makes you think Binns would have done the role better than Cottrell tonight?
because he's been doing it in the VFL, and I feel like he would have added some freshness to the team. Because like Cottrell, he didn't have much of an impact. Like, I know he almost kicked. He did end up kicking the goal, and then obviously I think it was the first quarter when he played on and tried to go in, but then missed the banana or whatever it was. But yeah, it's not just him. I think Ollie Hollands as well. Even when we were winning, I thought that he probably wasn't playing great. Like, even when we were in good form, but it's just even more exposed now. Like, some of the errors that he makes are just really unnecessary.
What do you make of the defensive side of his game? The
Look,
running.
he's good. He's good defensively, I would say. Like,
I mean, what do you make of Binns' defensive running in the VFL from when you watch him?
I mean, I to be honest, I haven't seen too much of him. So,
Binns?
yeah, Binns. I would say Hollands is better defensively, but it's just the errors that annoy me. Like, there was one kick that he had along the wing where he wasn't even under pressure. He was just fully uncontested, and he turned the ball over. And it's happened a few times. And look, I think he'll be a great player. It's just, second year Blues. And I feel like we should just give him a run in the reserves to get his confidence up.
And play who?
I don't know, probably Binns.
But Binns is
and
in
then,
for
yeah, I don't know. Also, another thing I want, Walsh is not working on the ball. I feel like Walsh needs to go on the wing or something, like he was, like the sort of hybrid thing that he was doing in the finals. Because ever since the new holding the ball thing, he just has not been able to get into form. He's been pretty poor for the last month, and I feel like he'd be better on the wing. Because I reckon his running would be better on the wing.
Yeah, he definitely. Mate, I reckon I've seen Sam Walsh pinged for holding a ball this season
more than anyone else.
More than anyone else. Whole career.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's fascinating. He seems to be the one that finds himself in the contest where they just call it a little too early every game.
Yeah,
and he seems to be him at the bottom of it, but it's tough. I'm really interested about this Binns talk because the 47 touches against the Pies last week was not on the wing.
Was it not?
No, of course not.
Because I didn't watch it. So
I think a lot of people look at the stats and they see 47 and they think,
and
all right,
3 goals as well.
Put him on the wing, then put him where Cottrell is. I don't know. We're trying to. Do you think Binns is part of the best side for this year?
No, definitely not. But we aren't even playing like our best, Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. I think we need to watch the tape a bit more.
Yeah, I fully understand.
You know what I mean?
Look, it's not even specifically that I have this whole plan of what we should do. It's more just it's clearly a problem that Cottrell is not playing well enough. And another thing I thought I might mention is Charlie Curnow. Like, look, he played amazingly tonight. He was, coming up the ground when we needed him to. But sometimes when the ball gets kicked to him, he does the wrong things. Like, I noticed Aaliyah was holding him all game. Like, the umpires were not giving Curnow any leeway or anything. But then he still plays for the free kicks. Like, and I know that it's definitely got a lot to do with the kind of
which one are you
balls that
talking about in
him.
particular? Give me an example.
Like, there would be times when in the second half, when we were just bombing it long over his head and we weren't And I feel like I'm not trying to be overly critical on him, but I've noticed it a lot this year. He needs to start playing in front of defenders more because he does not get the free kicks that he should because everyone just holds him. Like, I just feel that he should probably use his body more. I'm not trying to like, have a go at him or whatever, but I just feel like it would be much easier to get him the ball if that's what he was doing.
What's the key to beating Collingwood next week?
Don't go back into our shell after taking a 5-goal lead, because the amount of times I've seen us dominate a game from the start and then just sit back, wait for them to punish us, and just, everyone's been saying it, but just go along down the line. Like, it's really not what we got to do. I reckon we got to we got to play 4 quarters. We can't just. I feel like we're not respecting our opposition enough. We're thinking that one good quarter of footy means that we'll be able to win the game. That's not the case. Like,
No,
outside the second quarter, we kicked 2 goals, one in the first quarter and then one in the second half. Like, that is not good enough. You cannot beat teams like that, especially teams like Collingwood. And I know that they've been struggling, but they're still the reigning premiers, and we know we're going to see the best of them against us next week.
Yeah.
And the way we're playing, I'm really not confident.
Yeah. Mate, appreciate you calling in, sharing your thoughts. Hopefully we can turn it around next week.
Yeah, it would be so good to beat them on Pendlebury's 400th. How good would that be?
Mate, we're spoiling the party next week. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks again. Go Blues.
Go Blues.
Ben.
Hey, mate. Good job holding your tongue there.
No, it's all good.
My issue is what's happened with this, 3-4 weeks ago, selection integrity that Voss talked about. He said that he was going to play whoever's in form, don't care about the names. That's what he said in round 7 or 8 when we lost to Geelong or Collingwood. And then, we changed it when we dropped Hewitt onto the sub and brought Cherry right back in. The problems have all obviously started there, I reckon, and just annoying when your coach comes out and says something like that.
Do you reckon that's messed with the cohesion of the group a little bit? Do you reckon it's messed with them?
100%. Again, they're the same players now, but I just think when you're rolling, you just let the ball roll. If it's not broke, don't fix it, sort of thing. Like,
I would love to know if we could. I mean, it's probably a question that he might answer at the end of the season when it's all done. But if we could pinpoint that exact point, say, like, if you had your time again, would you have done that with the team?
100%. Also, the one annoying issue that I have with the loss is, once again, not for the second week in a row, for what feels like 2 years, we just outside our kick outs, just short 30-meter kick into the pocket, and then long down the line, where this year I thought we improved a lot early on, where we'd switch that ball into the middle and run and go. But you see teams now, all they do is, all right, we'll flood the middle and we'll play a 2v1 on Charlie Curnow. And where do we go now? We seem to lose those short 20-meter leads.
We're like a number of. Well, actually, I think every team in the competition is beatable if you apply enough pressure. So when I look at Port Adelaide, they've laid 91 tackles.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's absurd.
Insane. And
any team in the competition, don't care if you're Sydney, don't care if you're Brisbane, don't care who it is, 91 effective tackles registered is going to have you playing not the way you want to play. So, like, I think a little bit of credit will need to go to Port for that. Like, how many times are we going to get 91 tackles laid on us? I don't know. It doesn't happen often.
Correct. And that was like also a big thing that I've been seeing. Everyone's bagging Walsh. Walsh isn't this, Walsh isn't that. I reckon I saw Walsh tackle 10 times where he didn't have a half a second to get rid of it. They were on him all night. Like,
Yeah.
again, fair play to Port. Their pressure was immense, and there wasn't much tonight that Walsh could do. Walsh was trying to get free. Walsh was trying to shrug a tackle, but again, fair play to them. They were on him all night. I think one of the changes potentially at halftime was maybe seeing if he could go to a wing, or even in the last quarter, see if he could go to a wing, free himself up a little bit, give himself a little bit more time. But yeah, that was just frustrating out of the back half. Again, our defenders are defending well. Yeah, just a struggle to get it out there, it seems. Get caught so often at our halfway line.
Yeah. Who'd you miss the most tonight, Harry or Blake?
Both, man. Again.
Man, I noticed it with Harry. Even when we were winning in the second quarter, I noticed it immediately. Just what he does around the ground and just the marks he takes or the presence he has to bring it to ground, and you can be predictable with how you set up around that spillage because you know he's going to get his hands to it. Oh my God. And it's a funny thing. You don't truly realize what you do have until you don't have it. But I found myself so many moments tonight saying, "Oh, Harry would have marked that, or Harry would have at least brought that ball to ground."
Yeah, well, I thought Kerno did a really good job stepping into the having role.
Mate, I thought he was
fantastic.
I think that was his best effort of the
100%.
season. Yeah,
That-
there was a tap, I think.
Yeah,
over
the
to-
tap
over to
down
who it was?
to Owies
To Kennedy.
or Kennedy,
It was a
that's
tap
it.
to Kennedy who centered the ball to Motlop for Motlop's goal, and I'm like, Charlie won't get a stat for that. But just little things like that, I thought
perfect
were a
off work.
highlight of his game.
Yeah, no, I thought, again, he could hold his head high. He worked his ass off. But yeah, that was just showing that we're missing Mackay, because where Kerno was is where Mackay was, and he couldn't go and kick it to Kerno. So we sort of were missing that one link down where we could try and lock it in our forward half sort of thing. So yeah, Charlie was a big out. And Akers on the goal line, we could have used him a couple of times. He would have saved us a couple of points and a goal there. But
Yeah.
Tough night.
If someone run boundary side to their weak foot, ask for a handball again, and then have the call for the handball on it, I may go insane.
The one Elijah, I think it was in the third quarter, he got the mark, centre half back, kicked the ball inside, ran off, went to get the handball, but ran to his weak foot, and then got caught, and then kicked it fucking 25 metres backwards. Like, mate, why are you running on your weak foot, mate?
I'm trying to think, what were some of the big ones tonight that just had you scratching your head? Wait, let me get my notes out.
Look, it wasn't. You could see the boys were trying, but it was almost like they were trying too hard and not realizing
Some of their
what they were
bloody
doing.
decisions under pressure, I'll tell you what, mate. I had written down, oh my God, Asafa Radagalia became fucking Levi Casbolt.
Oh, tell me about it. Fuck
Some of the
me.
things he was clunking. It was just
What?
sickening.
I just want to see, like, outside of for our defensive kick-ins, why don't we 2v1 the opposition's tall? Like, everyone does it to Kerno, everyone does it to Mackay, and once every now and again they take a good clunk. Fair play.
Yeah.
But so Radagalia took about 5 in a row, I reckon. It was just like, fuck me. Just punch his arms. I don't care if you give the free kick away. Just stop him.
Kempy.
Frustrating.
I thought Kempy had a few moments, didn't go his way, and then he took a really strong mark. I think it might have been the third, and I thought, perfect. Get him going.
And then he went to handball
then he handballed it.
Oh.
Kempy, I love you, mate, but come on.
Oh, yeah. Just one of those nights.
It was just one of those. And honestly, I don't think enough's been said about Port's pressure.
No, fair play.
I mean, I know we're frustrated. We're top 2 and want a qualifying final, and we want to win a premiership, and it's fucking hard, mate.
It is.
It's tough. This competition is even this late into the year. It's
everyone's on their last sort of they've got one life left for a lot of these teams, and they just fucking want it. Where, as you said,
we've sort of earned lives and we're throwing them away.
yeah, exactly. So it's been a tough position, but I think that also can suit us seeing what happened last year. Instead of going full ticker for 10 weeks and not
Yeah.
having a break, even though this isn't a break, we still want to win.
Yeah.
We haven't had to put 110% in to 10 weeks. Slow, have a couple of losses, yes, but hopefully find that form into the back end. And I think big win this weekend against the Pies. Smash them and get us back into form, I think.
Yeah. The season is so volatile. You're one performance away from a narrative going one way or the other. So
yeah, correct.
Anyway, we'll just cop our whack this week and show up next week. They better fucking win next week. I'll give you the hot tip.
Fucking
They wouldn't. I don't want to hear about any of this. Like, nah.
You've got to cancel the fan cams if we lose next week. I think. Fuck it now. They'll blow up.
If we lose next week.
No, don't think about it.
We're not losing
next week. No, not losing.
No, it's not even a possibility.
McCall will come back and kick 10.
Fucking hell. Ben, you're a legend. Thanks for calling in, mate.
Thank you. Have a good one, mate. Go Blues.
Aiden.
Hello.
What's going on, man?
Fuck me. I feel like it's mental. I feel like it's a mental thing with the players, with the club. I feel like it's a collective thing because what they're doing right now, it's not working at all. Like, I feel like we're just playing plays based off their name and based off their potential output and what they can do for this side, because it's not working. Like, they're playing plays in positions where it's not working at all. I don't understand. We're playing in patches and it's just not good enough. Like Jad said it perfectly before. Like, if we have players that, let's face it, have egos and don't want to sacrifice their spot, then we have issues, because successful sides and successful teams that in any sport that have won league titles, won flags, they sacrifice their spot in order to win. And if we have players that want to do that, then we have issues, because I don't know what's gone wrong. Like, we need to go back to what worked in that winning run. Like, if that means dropping certain players in order to get that balance right, in order to get that system back up and going again, then do it. Like, I don't get why everything has changed. Like, I didn't see one kick inside the corridor up until that late fourth quarter. I didn't see any positional changes at all late until that fourth quarter. Like, I feel like the club collectively, coaches included, don't know what they're doing.
Really?
Yeah, currently. Like, I feel like they're just confused because we've got a list that's healthy and they're trying to bring names back together that can win, that can obviously have a great output. But why? Like, I don't get it. Like, why is Sher playing halfback? Like, he's an inside mid.
There's got to be some reason. There has to be a plausible explanation.
Like, it baffles. Like, we have Boyd there. Like, play Walsh on the wing. Put Sher in the middle. Like, play Boyd. Do something. Like, pull McGovern up front. They're not trying anything. And it's really frustrating because far out. Like, people want Bins in. Now, I'm sorry. Like, I watched him a few times in the VFL, and his defensive efforts compared to Ollie and Akers, it's miles behind. Like, the club clearly want him to develop more, and I guarantee if he played tonight and if he did one little thing, he would get hammered for it. And I do feel like if he were to come in next week, teams will target him. And you don't want to play him in a position where we need to win. I don't want to play a 19-year-old kid who, let's face it, isn't ready yet, in a position where it's a rivalry game where we need to win, where there's a lot on the line, and he loses a lot of confidence with that. Because I remember with Dow and O'Brien, we rushed them straight in, and look how look how they developed. Not really what we expected. I don't want that happening with Bins.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It actually reminds me of Dow, the cycle of Dow. Dominates in the VFL. Where's Dow? Dow comes in, first game, loved it. Second game and third game, didn't, perform exceptionally well. Drop him. Why is he in the side? And then it's, we're always looking for the grass being greener somewhere else. And so many people will say Bins, and then I'll ask the same question. Oh, what did you watch of Bins in the VFL? And it'll be the same answer. I didn't watch it.
47 touches.
I just saw the stats. And it's like, okay.
Like he played it. Like I watched that Collingwood game, and they were horrible. Like they were horrible. Like I could have had like 30 touches. I didn't even play the game. Like we need to give him time. Like I don't want to see him play unless the coaches have full faith in him, full confidence in him. Simple, because I already know what will happen because I've seen him with Ollie tonight. I don't want to see what people have been saying about Ollie with him.
Yeah.
But another thing, I do feel like that you and Pommy, that you guys said it spot on. Like where we are in the top 4, top 8 right now, if you have a look at the teams around us, they've got a lot more experience in that regard. It took us 10 years to make a finals experience, let alone to win 2 finals. I do feel like that if we have a little bit of that experience, we can gain a lot of good and harsh lessons from it. Like look at Collingwood and Geelong. It took them 10 years to win a grand final with a lot of experience that they have. Like, tell me one player in our list that has that amount of experience like a Collingwood or Geelong in our list.
No, look, I think you make a really good point. I think we can get really entitled as a fan base and think that just because we've hit the window from last year that we have to win the flag this year.
No.
We are the least experienced team in this bracket up the top out of all of them. All of them have been there for 3, 4, 5 years, like a long time.
And
Freo, maybe not so much, but the others have been there for a long time. We only just started. Being
we've only just started, and we're babies in that regard. Like we're just kids, if that makes sense, in the finals and all that. Like you got people saying that, oh, we need to make a grand final or else it's a failure. Like why? Like I don't understand that. Like let this team gain confidence first. Like I understand that we want to win a flag for numerous reasons. Like I've said it, I'm not going to lie. Like I remember against Geelong, I said that, oh, we're going to do this, do that, but we need time. That's like we need more. We need more experience in that. Even if that means a little bit of heartbreak, which inshallah I hope it doesn't come in finals. But if that has to happen, but it leads us to success, then so be it. Because right now this team, they're just babies in a final series, in finals and winning. Like it only took us until 2022 to be good.
Yeah, and even then we struggled to make the 8. We just missed out. So, and then we seem to we took so long to make finals, and then we almost skipped the queue last year and went straight to a prelim in the first final series. So I don't know. It's tough. I still think there's an opportunity here as well. I mean, and I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from. Like we're looking around, like we can win it. It's possible. It's not impossible. Like we're capable, and if you're capable, that means you have an incredible opportunity. And the story hasn't been written yet. So until it's written, it's there's so many emotions that come with that. So you just don't want them to give up an opportunity and look back. And we don't want to look back and say, 2024, we really let it slip.
Yeah, I get it. Like, don't get me wrong, I get it too. Because like I'm not gonna lie, like there's 4 weeks into the season left, and there's 4 weeks in finals. Like we already know what this group is capable of going on a massive run and winning it. Like we don't know what can happen by then. But yeah, I agree with everything that you said. But I just hope that we just take a bit more time in that regard. And I remember I think Joe and Paul said something like, if we go into a rough patch, how will the fan base react to it? I feel like and right now, if we're abusing players, saying they're this, they're that, I feel like it's not going to help because I feel like that resonates with the players as well. And I feel like that.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
the amount of shit Ollie's gotten, he's a 2-year player. He's a second-year player. He's not gonna do what a Langdon, a fucking side bottom is doing. He's a baby. Like we need to stick. I don't want to be cliche, but we need to stick stronger together and have faith in this group and just back them in. Saying sack Voss, sack him, drop him, it's not gonna help.
Give me hope, Aiden. Give me hope. What do you think of? I would love to speak to a player about it again. Maybe not now. Maybe it's end of season. But if you're a player, right, 3.5 minutes to go. Don't tell me that we couldn't have won that game with 3.5 minutes to go. And the mass exodus. Now, obviously, the way they're playing in the second half, it was they were on the way to a loss, but I don't remember seeing a mass exodus like that in a long time tonight. It was maybe because I was on level 2 and I saw it on level 2 and level 1 and I saw it more than what I usually would. It was startling. I looked around and I was like, okay, like they're playing shit, but there's still 3.5 minutes to go. That's 3 goals. We can do it. Like it can be done. And if I'm a player, I'm looking around. I'm like, man, fuck you guys. Yeah, fuck you too.
Well, yeah, like if I'm a player saying all that, I'm gonna be like, mate, look at where we are on the ladder and compare it to 2020, 2021. Like, I would be shocked. I was in level 3. A lot of people left. Like, I texted you and it was quiet in the train station. Ride home, quiet. Everyone was shocked. Everyone was disappointed. Like, it felt like everyone's just lost hope.
There was a giving up. There was a giving up by the fans tonight, and they wanted to express themselves. And whatever. Like,
fair enough. Like I've left games before. I'm not going to hide it. Like I've left early, but we're not shit anymore. Like we've lost what? In 7 games, we've won 12. Like there's still a big opportunity, but
it was just a draining of our competitive advantage is the crowd.
Yeah, and they say it.
The crowd didn't get in. Like, I mean, we were sort of there. We were reacting really well to the second quarter because it was awesome, and then there was a bit of a lull in the third. And instead of the crowd going up after the lull, it flattened after the third quarter lull.
I feel like I remember when Port kicked their goal. I remember the fan base going like it was erupting, like they were saying like "come on," and all that. And I felt like after they kicked the other goal, I feel like that's where the fans were probably like, "We've done our part. Where's your part?"
We haven't done our part. Yeah, we haven't done our part.
That's it. Like it's disappointing. And next week we have Collingwood, and fuck me dead if we it's their grand playing against Collingwood playing against us. It's their grand final. Let's be honest with you. Like I remember speaking to someone at open training. Like they're a part of the club. I'm not going to name names, but I asked them. I said, "So, did the players get like a real competitive edge when Collingwood won the flag?" And they said to me, "Oh, they don't necessarily like pay attention to the rivalry as much." And if that's true, then I don't know.
It took me a while to get accustomed to that. I used to get really upset at that. The reality is, it just doesn't mean as much to them as what it used to for the generation before.
It doesn't, and it's really like it pisses me off a little bit because every little like thing that Collingwood do, like even if it's a mark or a smother, they celebrate it. When we do, it's just normal. Like a lot of people said it the last time we played them, it's just a game to them. Like it doesn't mean anything to Collingwood. It does. And next week, they better do something next week. It's Collingwood. Like I don't like. Fuck me, man. I really
91 tackles next week. That's what I want to see. 91 tackles next week.
Like that's the thing, Terry. Like I feel like when teams are laying that much tackles, and when the pressure comes on, we just hide. We go into hiding mode. Like, why don't we actually become the hunted and hunt teams when they're doing that? Why can't we do it? Isn't that what we did in our winning run?
That's what got us to the strong position this year.
It's not good enough, Terry. Like, I'm sorry. Like I don't want to compare us to other teams, but Sydney, they do it for 4 quarters. We do it in patches. Simple.
Yeah. Mate, thanks for calling in. Appreciate your thoughts.
All good.
Be
It's
back
all good.
next week, huh? Saturday
Yep.
night, back at the M. You know, that's what sorry, before you go, mate, we need to be the MCG, the soul of football. You know, we've been at Marvel a little bit too much
I
lately.
fucking hate Marvel. It's depressing.
Get back to the home of football and start again.
And I'm going next week, and I'm going to be a part of the Chew Squad as well. I'm going to be near the Chew Squad actually, so it should be fun. Hopefully, we
Love
get
it.
our ass into gear. And if what that guy said before about Pito, then I don't know.
Well, I'm going to get him back on. I'm going to get him to clarify. But yeah,
right.
have a good night, man. Go Blues.
You too. So.
Danny.
Second stint. Sorry, mate. I had to answer the door.
Need you to just clarify everything because we're going into meltdown over here, mate.
Mate, see, I'm just saying what I saw was that he was actually he had his hand on his hammy after a ruck contest, and that's what I saw. That's what I saw. So obviously it's raw from the game, so that's what I saw, and I was like, oh God, what happened there? And then, trust me when I tell you, he was not the same after that.
I trust you.
He was not the same after that, and I even remember him. I think Jed said that he was actually. Oh, I don't know who said that. He was jumping in contest before. Like, he's not TDK. He just needs to remember that he's a hit out machine, and that's what he does. And that's what the thing that I don't get, Tez, is how can you be like so turnover driven for however many weeks and then literally swing the pendulum to the other side, and then just literally just concentrate on clearance. Like, surely there's a balance. Surely there's something that we need to look at. And what I was saying before was that, come on, like, we need to know what our mistakes are. We keep making the same mistakes. Yes, I understand we need to experiment because obviously we don't have Chara was not in the squad then, and Cottrell just came in. But what are the messages that we are sending to the team as well, Tess? Because we say that, okay, we reward VFL performances, and I'm not saying get Bins in because he got 47 touches. No, I'm just saying what's the criteria, right? So Cottrell is just an automatic in. Why? Because your system was working fine. You had 5 wins in the bank then. Like, why is it an automatic in? Like, what message are you sending to the VFL boys who are bursting their asses there as well? Like, obviously they are giving their best, but I feel that we lost the balance there. Hewitt, Kennedy, Cripps, Walsh. There was, as they say, CBAs, like, always there, and we always won the clearances there. If you see now, Tez, centre bounce clearance, you're losing it, and people are literally bursting out of it. I said it last time, I said it the week before. It's happening again and again since the GWS game. And you can't tell me that one quarter has changed the mentality totally after that quarter that we had against GWS. It just does not make sense to me. It does not. And the thing that just baffles me right now is Harry's importance was so like, literally, it was very much highlighted today. Charlie was trying to play that role, but if Charlie is playing that role, who are we kicking to? If Charlie is doing that, who are we kicking to? And there was one instance in the game when Lewis Young had the ball and he had the goal in front of him, not picking on him. It was like deer in like headlights. He lost it. Kemp was average, bang average. The amount of times he takes a fantastic mark and then he coughs it out straight away for a turnover. Yeah, I know.
It was. Oh, I remember it so. I was sitting on that side of the ground, and I'm like, Kempy, yes, perfect. And then, like, the most unnecessary handball. Like, I feel for him because he's learning, and he's still at that. He's still in that part of his career where, like, these mistakes are going to be part of, the final product of him. Well, you're never really going to be the final product, but the best version of Kemp is going to come from him, going through these mistakes and through these issues. And I think we can also see why he gets dropped from time to time, because I want him to go back, fix these things. I think he'll be all right, Kemp. I just thought, look, the thing about Kemp, he battles through it. He doesn't drop his head. I think it's a really strong attribute about him. He makes mistakes, but I think he just keeps at it. And I think eventually he's going to break through and become a consistent player. And, unfortunately, we've just got to watch and live through these things. I think so. I mean, I know we're all upset about the loss, but fucking Lockie Cowan, man. Some of the efforts to help his teammates and peel across and cover. Like, I know that in losses we don't like being positive, but mate, Lockie Cowan's special.
Mate, okay, and this is just obviously watching the game, so I didn't watch it on TV because it was there. But him and Elijah Hollands, mate, they played a rip-off again. The intercept and the pressure that he was applying. Lockie Cowan was at one time playing on Radicalia, and he jumped in, and he was at Radicalia, and there was an inside 50, and he literally did not let him have it. He spoiled the ball, like jumped and spoiled the ball, and I was like, "Oof, that's some development." You see, he's learning on the job. That's what we didn't have Cowan in our best 23 last year. He was still in the twos, but you see how he's evolved. But amazing game by those two people, but really, really disappointed. I think Ollie Hollands gives us 100%. Again, unfinished product, but I cannot fault his effort. Never. He makes mistakes, but I cannot fault his effort.
Yeah,
Cripps,
these kids, we've got to get behind. I mean, people don't like hearing it, but too bad. They need support. The kids
100%.
need support. They do. They're in this early phase, their first 4 or 5 seasons. They need support. They do. It's just the reality. We're frustrated. We're impatient. We want it all to be everyone to be peaking right now. It's a game of so many moving parts, and some of those moving parts are very inexperienced. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough because it's a big boy league, and it's all there for everyone to see. But I think sometimes we can sway. We all do it. I definitely do it as well, and we can sway into just going a little too hard at the younger ones.
Yeah. Mate, we live and we learn, but to be honest with you, I'm really disappointed, Tez. Really, really, really disappointed by today's game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And why I'm disappointed is because, we learned something. When we copped the Sydney loss, when we copped Collingwood loss, when we copped the other loss as well, Geelong loss, we learned something and we saw it being implemented. Now we have had those kind of losses. And remember, Tez, when I came in after the game, the Doggies game, I was I'm scared because our run home is going to involve teams who are going to be desperate. And I said then that is what we gotta, just have to obviously make sure that doesn't happen. But hopefully, what I'm trying to say is that next week against Collingwood, we have to get up. We have to, because if that doesn't happen, it's going to be an arm bells for us.
Collingwood first.
Yeah,
let's
mate,
just get to Collingwood. Very good, Danny. Thanks for calling back in. Good to hear your voice. And go Blues.
Go Blues, mate. Have a good night.
See you, mate. Jimmy, thanks, Terry. We can count on you to show up. I'll be here, mate. With bells on. Vic Wide Renovations with $15 says, you know what Francis was shat on for? You know what Francis was shat on first half, got pinned 5 times. You know what, he came out second half and killed us. Then we're sitting here saying Walsh getting pinned. They didn't give up. Yeah. Riley. Hello.
Hey, Des.
How you doing, man?
Good. First time on here, so thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah, tough gig tonight. I guess what everyone needs to sort of lay it down is everyone's closing off the season already. I feel like that's I haven't seen much of like the other fan cams, but have you had much people closing in on the season?
No, I wouldn't say closing in on the season. I think it's just maybe in the live chat there's been a few that have just written a line through us and drawn conclusions. But I also think that's just the emotions talking more than what it is them really feeling that. But I think it would be kind of crazy to draw conclusions right
Yeah, of
now.
course.
It's not done. There's still a month to go.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like our last 4 weeks, it's obviously been a form drop, but it's only been 2 goals basically each game to top 8 sides, and it's not a thing to, drop a team off or say. I mean, we've seen how quick Carlton can turn the season around, especially the game after Gold Coast, last year. So, game after Essendon, sorry, against Gold Coast. But I think it's a lot of people I've seen question effort, but I think effort's been strong. I mean, like you said, like Cowan and thought Kennedy was good today. But there's a lot of like, I guess I reckon what we got smashing today was set up around the ball. I feel like when we were set up around the ball, it was always contested. Whether it's if Port had that set up after a stoppage clearance or they were out. And I feel like was strong in display because I don't feel like we used the corridor that much this game. I feel like first option was always through the wing, and it would lead to Zerk Thatcher making Zerk Thatcher look like Wiedering, or making Radagalier look a lot better than he is. Even Alir in that second half as well, having that bomb kick down has those key defenders having these intercept marks, whereas we're not finding that open option that creates that chain into the forward half. Because I think our midfield was strongly beaten today as well. I think we lost in clearance, stoppage clearance, center bounce clearance as well. I think we'll be in all those stats. Yeah,
all of those things that make up us pressure and contest. We were beaten at. I really like what you said about their ability at stoppage Port. They are one of a few teams that have this really, and they did it against us last time we played. They have this really dangerous ability in tight to get that, to absorb the pressure and then get the handball out. And they did it, and they had that 4th extra player overlap running, and the timing was great for them.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we did miss a few of our players too. I mean, I think what was hard today as well was that we did a lot of switching today to try and make up for the loss of Mackay. I think saw Kemp down forward a few times. I think in the last quarter saw him down forward a few times. Pushed back Lewis Young from forward to back. Even had Kerno in the back line in the third quarter, even though we're up 10 plus. And when you have Kerno in the back line, I mean, who's your next option forward? To bring it up forward, you have always Motlop. Could have had Lewis Young, but obviously he's going to have a Radagalier or something on him. There's not that second option down the line. Which usually you'd have Mackay pushed up and then Kerno further down. But if you're going to have Kerno in the back line in that third quarter, it puts a lot of Smalls under pressure, and it goes straight back into their forward line. I think seeing Kerno in the back line, it really reminded me of that third quarter against Essendon, where it was just, it'd be a dump kick down the wing, rather an intercept, a stoppage, or stoppage clearance straight back after that stoppage and straight back into their their 50. Just repeat. I feel like we saw a lot of that tonight. I feel like the only quarter we didn't see that in was in the second quarter. And that's why people are sort of bashing our back line. But, I mean, when they have, I think it was 12 more inside 50s, but we kept it to a 2-goal difference. I mean, that's a big difference when their ball's in their forward line for most of the time, when it's not really pushed into ours as much, whether that's because of sort of what I said around the midfield. Yeah,
If I could give a template to people watching how and what like the ideal fan cam is, it's everything you just said.
Yeah.
Combination of opinion grounded in evidence. Just that was really good to listen to. I'm going to be honest. Thank you, man. That was really good. How much of it do you think is fixable before next week?
There's obviously a lot of things to patch up. I think Mackay and having Mackay Boyd should be almost certain in next week, you'd think. Because they are all tests this week and obviously missed out. So I'm sure they'll all come in. I think Boyd would be really good for us because he's usually good at picking out that, from half back to whether it's an open player in the wing or through the corridor. I think that will be important for us because I feel like we really missed that presence of getting it out of half back and pushing it into our forward line. I feel like Boyd and Mackay especially is good for that. So I think that would help out. I think midfield might have to work around that stoppage clearance, because I think we also got outdone against the Dogs in that area too. All these teams have strong midfields, but I think we've also got to look at our midfield. We've got some incredible midfielders too. So it's also having to get those involved. I think I'd like Chera more involved in the midfield too. I feel like he had a big presence down back this game. I'd like to get Chera a bit more involved too because he hasn't been the Chera we saw last year. And I think it's important to have that Chera we had last year, and that's through the midfield. I wouldn't mind seeing Binns get a crack too, but then again, I think a lot of people bash Ollie, but I think Ollie's defensive efforts is what makes him such a reason why he has a role in this team and why he's still in.
Yeah. I would love what he does. I mean, the offensive thing, sometimes he gets a little caught up. Sometimes he can be a little bit wasteful at times and, not make the right decision. That'll come. I don't know if you can teach that defensive effort with the running.
Exactly.
But, you can teach offensive execution with repetitions.
Yeah, and he's still young. I mean, his body still needs to mature a bit more because I feel like body maturity and just learning the game will come as he grows, and I feel like that's something that will sort of come with time. But with now, I feel like he's getting bashed in the contest a lot.
Yeah.
Whether we saw tonight where he got caught a few times, and that's with I think with more body maturity, with more time, he'll come great on the offensive side. But on the defensive side, I mean, he was really good last week, and he makes those efforts to, when they have the swing, when they swing to the other side, Ollie's always there. I feel like that's, why he sort of has a role in this team.
Yeah. Spewing for Cunningham. I mean, fuck.
Oh, yeah. I saw
what the guy just can't take a break.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
Was his shoulder, wasn't it? I think he dislocated
I don't think I've seen an athlete in any sport like some of the ones we've had on our list get this many injuries in their careers and just unable to get a run at it. Like between Cunners and Marchie, it is fascinating.
Doherty too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But Cunner's just, I mean, what do you mean? He's come on, he starts, and he does his fucking shoulder. I just, it's so unlucky. It's awful. And I don't know where it leaves him. I know that the conversation for some of us goes straight to, what does the future hold? But like, you got to take space to just think about it from his point of view. Like, he's trying to get back out there.
Yeah, of course.
He's trying to get resilient, and he just one injury after another. So I feel for him, but yeah, it's footy.
Yeah, it is. You get it with a few of our players. I don't think you see this many players on a team that have these constant injuries and even season-ending injuries. We always have at least one or two players at the start of the season that always have that season-ending injury, whether it be Doherty or Silvani. It's tough, but I guess it's more great teams always find a way, no matter what players they have in the seconds, and I feel like that's
Yeah, mate, I'm gonna leave it there, but thanks very much for calling in, and please call back again. That was really good to interact with you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right, man. See ya.
All right, bye.
That was fucking brilliant. That one right there. That was absolutely brilliant. Okay. That's us. I'm not ready to go to bed, not gonna lie. Oh, I really want to watch the press conference. But just can't. Check this out. Thought it was a pretty good game of footy. Up until obviously the second half. But look at this. True Lewis Young kicks a goal. That was a nice moment. Nice little touch there. Newman behind. That just missed. Charlie. Cottrell. Charlie. Yeah, he really got going. This was a good play. This was the one I was talking about earlier. Charlie tapped it to Kennedy, who centered it. And then I guess it was downhill from there. Everything was so good right here, guys. Then Georgiades kicks a goal just before halftime. Everything was so good. Life was great here. And then just they chipped away. 3 straight Port Adelaide behinds. McGovern miss. I don't really remember this one. Charlie missed. I think he hit the post with that. Darcy Byrne-Jones. Wait, what was the circumstances around Darcy Byrne-Jones? I feel like there was a free kick paid. Does anyone remember what happened with this Darcy? I feel like there was a bit of controversy with the Darcy Byrne-Jones goal. Oh, I remember. It wasn't controversy. You know what? They should have maybe paid that mark to Kemp. Kemp had 2 touches at it, and then I thought he got intruded on. I thought the legs hit his head, and if he held on to it a little bit longer, they would have paid the mark. It was stiff. Kennedy, that was a great goal. We were holding on here. Is that our only goal in the second half? This one? You're kidding me, mate. Willie Rioli. Oh, yeah, that was out of the stoppage. Kane Farrell. That was a good goal. Radigalia. Sickening, man. Sickening. Jackson Mead. Hewitt Rush. This was the long shot on goal. Jason Horn-Francis. That was the mark. That was the one that was. So you're telling me we got here. Jason Horne-Francis kicks the goal from that. Was it the mark? Yeah, from the mark. Kicks it from like 45 out directly in front. Then this happens, which was the one that was touched. They score reviewed it. And this was the mass exodus right here. Flat. Game over. Port had 10 less interchanges than the cap. It was like they were leaving the Titanic. It was. Mate, the fans, mate, they were leaving like their lives depended on it. Inside 50s. Clearances. Marks. Disposal efficiency. Possession? What? Mate. I thought there were just too many free kicks paid. There were too many whistles in general tonight. What's that? 46. 46 free kicks. I don't think that's ideal. 91 tackles. What do you want? Wow, we lost the hit-up battle convincingly, eh? Walsh, 11 tackles. Wow. Chess. Fuck. Yeah. Yeah, I heard this as well. I heard someone was leaving. They were leaving ahead of me. The guy's like, oh. Someone said, oh, there's only 3 minutes to go. He's like, oh, we'll beat the traffic and, got to be up early in the morning. And I thought to myself, you would have stayed if we were up for sure. You wouldn't have left early. Tonight's Twitter salt about Kerno gave me a nice upgrade to the block list. Oh, I haven't even checked. I'm staying away. Let me guess. Opposition supporters saying free kick Kerno. He should be getting more free kicks. I'm worried that narrative has seeped into the umpiring. I truly am. Who were our best? I think it's Charlie and Elijah, personally. Elijah has 20. Thought he had more, just felt more. I thought Charlie was our best player. And I thought Elijah was our doing a bit. Can't believe people said Charlie was selfish and lazy during the week. I just can't believe it. 547 meters gained. He was everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. Three to Lige, 2 to Wieders. Yeah, Wieders, true, yeah. Wiedering was very strong. Dixon was in form coming into this game too. And then they moved him to Radaglia because, Radaglia is just such a big brute of a player. It's just such a mismatch for Kemp. Keno did a power rec. Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. Is this Damon? Blue Bagger's Edge. Oh, yeah. Hey, mate. Luca, the one in the fourth where Kerno got dumped to the ground. We were down 3, made me sick. Dumped to the ground. Down 3, yeah. Isn't it ridiculous that we can't watch the presser here? This is just so ridiculous. It's truly brainwashing the majority, so wouldn't be surprised if it seeped in. How can it not? They are human. Yeah. My stupid best friend is a Collingwood man and snottily texted me this evening to say Charlie was playing for freeze. Oh, mate. So annoying. 4 weeks to get it right. Have faith. Just wish they could have got over the line tonight as my mother just passed away. And maybe I had too much emotion invested in the game. Her farewell song, as many before her, is Carlton's theme song. Beautiful how much our game means to some. I just hope the team can take the same love and bring this flag home. Condolences, Bo. Thanks for sharing. The boys will do one better. Bring her a premiership. Is our season over? No, it's not. Let's take a look at it. Just take a look at it. Like, what is over about this? What is done about this? Worst case scenario. This is the worst case scenario of what can happen this week. So the Lions win. Sydney win. That keeps us there. The worst case scenario this weekend is we finish in 4th spot at the end of the round. Good. We've been sitting way too pretty in second, and I think a little bit of a blowtorch is not the worst thing. Mate, I thought Cowan was exceptional. Some of his efforts, incredible. The way he peeled off his man to help Kemp. He actually gave away the free kick to Georgiadis, but I thought it was important that he did in a really weird way. But just the courage to go for it. I really believe he's a special player. Well, imagine we get out of jail again and the Suns do it. Or the Eagles. There's just no way. Anyway, the point is, season's not dead. Could have missed the fan cams, must admit. Finally was spot on with his analysis. Our play was so predictable, kicking the down the line. Yeah, we just didn't have another aerial threat to go to at all. Matt, it's my mate's 30th next Saturday. His Pies on Blues. We made a pact not to watch. Why? Why would you do that? Anyway, let's call it 50th Giants. True. You're right. My bad. That would mean no. No, we can't go to 5th because the Giants enter this round. Oh, okay. Unless they beat the D's by. Okay, like if they smash the D's, then we could. Okay. Oh, but then Geelong, they win by 100. Or like 6. Yeah, okay. They did win by 100. Okay. That's worst case scenario. Anyway. That's us. All right, guys. Same. I'm kind of scared to hit end stream just because, not scared, but got to go face reality now. It sucks. Thanks for tuning in. Another good session. Therapeutic. Unfortunately, it was therapy, but whatever. It's always good to share the experience with other people. You know, sometimes you just, we're in a lonely world, and sometimes it's good to just be amongst people who are feeling what you're feeling. So that is ultimately what the legacy of the fan cams is. Thanks to Mr. Koken for sponsoring the fan cams. And yeah, appreciate all your support. Those of you who tune in every week, those of you who subscribe to the channel, those of you who have shopped at the BA shop, thank you very much. And yeah, review will be out tomorrow, and we'll do the ratings as we usually do, and then we'll look forward to the pies next week. Have a good night, everyone. Go Blues.